Rain, 73 degrees here downtown at the Arch, 5 minutes after the hour. Just a reminder, you can take the Marc Cox Morning Show with you wherever you go. Listen to the show anytime, from anywhere. You'll find it all on our free Odyssey app.
Good morning. We're on. We're back. It's Wednesday. It is storming in a lot of areas even as we speak. So just expect some slowdowns on the road. There was standing water as we were coming in there on Highway 40 this morning already in some of the spots. I mean, not bad, but it's going to get worse because it had just started to rain when I headed to work this morning. And it looks like, according to radar, they're getting heavy rain further to the south, and it is going to last pretty much through the entire show this morning. So till we're off the air at 9.
Well, I wanted to power wash today, so I hope that's still going to be able to happen later.
If you took advantage of the beautiful weather yesterday and you washed your car, guess what? Hopefully they have a rain policy at your local car wash, and you can swing back through there because it's going to get heavy rain throughout the morning. Of course, on the other side of that, it's going to be 78 degrees this afternoon when all this clears out of here. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good deal. That is pretty good. Glad you're with us this morning. A couple of technical issues here. If you are joining us this morning on the interwebs, if you're on the radio, this won't affect you at all. Does it affect I assume it affects the app too? Is this right?
I don't know if it affects.
Okay, so
I don't think it does, but it may.
So if you listen on the Odyssey app, you'll have to let us know on the text line if this affects you or not. But we've had to make a little bit of a technical change here to what we stream, and that would include YouTube and Rumble and X and Facebook, and that is the music that we play in and out of segments has had to be removed from the stream. And don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at Ethan, and don't get mad at Kim. This is apparently a legal issue, and this drives me nuts. I'm just going to tell you this up front. We are a commercial radio station. I've gotten into this fight with Facebook so many times when they come back to me and say, we've deleted your program from such and such date because you violated our music policy. My answer to them is always the same. We are a commercial radio station. We pay BMI, whatever the organization is, we pay them a fee in order to be able to play music on this radio station. However, they want to double dip, and they also want the same amount of money if that same song plays on the internet. So that's cost prohibitive to pay twice, and for that reason we've had to eliminate the music that you hear in and out of segments on the web. Did I get that? Did I explain that correctly there, Ethan?
Yeah, I think so. YouTube's been flagging us, so we can't ever get monetized. We can't get a lot of stuff from YouTube, so you will not be hearing basically any of the beds we play. You will not hear the national anthem anymore. You'll
hear some lovely elevator music.
There will be some elevator background music.
Here are your options. You have the songs are titled Dance Pop, Rock, Night Driving, Into Space, Daydreaming, Acoustic Cinematic. I mean, feeding the ducks.
I was like, you got to play Feeding the Ducks.
What is Feeding the Ducks? Okay, we'll go with Feeding the Ducks because I'd like to know what that sounds like. So that's some background music that you'll hear instead.
So our streaming service lets us put background music in. So when we go to commercial, they won't be hearing what we're doing. They're going to hear elevator music, basically.
Feeding the Ducks.
Until we come back.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm sorry about that. The reason we're trying to explain it is that I know we're going to get questions because this is going to be really the first morning when most of you would notice it directly. I mean, we've been trying to, some of the other programs have been trying to, there's a button Ethan would have to push over there behind the scenes stuff that would cut music out or cut music in, and sometimes people will complain, hey, you forgot to push that button because we're not hearing the interview, and it's just got very confusing. So we've decided ultimately to remove it altogether. And
so basically, they should just not hear music.
Correct.
That's
the
only thing it should affect, you guys.
And the sad part about that is that I used to love being able to have so much more control over what music I played, so I could play Sammy Hagar and Van Halen in every bump. And then they started telling me I couldn't do that anymore. So maybe we can correct that now that we're not having to deal with this issue on streaming.
Mark.
What do you think, Ethan?
I mean, technically, why wouldn't we be able to play regular music now?
I'm paying Sammy those rights. There's no reason why we can't go back to regular bump music then.
That is your fight.
Yes. All right, I'm down for that fight. I'm gonna go fight for the people this morning. All right, there were some big primaries yesterday, right? The biggest upset of all came down in Florida, where just when we think, you know what, maybe this DSA thing is kind of localized, this is not going to have an impact in a red state. And boy, did Florida prove that theory wrong last night. This Vindman guy, he was one of the Vindman brothers who hated Trump in the first administration. Remember, Donald Trump got impeached over that phone call with Ukraine. That was a Vindman who spearheaded that whole thing. So now one of the Vindman brothers is running for Congress in Florida. He's a sweetheart of the left. They love him. They love the Vindmans because they hate Donald Trump. So they put $16 million in his primary in Florida to make sure he was the candidate. And a DSA candidate named Nixon is her last name, came out of nowhere, spent less than $1 million, and beat this guy by 6 or 7 points. I mean, like 100,000 votes. She trounced him in Florida. And I don't know why, because I'm assuming these were Democrat voters. I don't know who turned out to vote for her, if it was a vote against Hakeem Jeffries and that group and Schumer who all endorsed him, or if there's just that many crazies who want to nationalize healthcare and privatize companies and do all this other crazy stuff, open borders and grant amnesty that the DSA candidates want. But this was a huge upset in the primary in Florida. Now, what happens in the general election? Florida's deep red. Deep red. I can't envision this woman who has a chance down there against Ashley Moody. I just can't envision, because Moody is the one that was appointed to fill out Marco Rubio's term when he became Secretary of State. And I just can't imagine that she would lose in Florida to a DSA candidate. But there's clearly more strength there than we kind of banked on. So those were the big that was the only really big upset last night, I would say. Everybody else kind of won as expected, generally speaking. I mean, that's a general statement, but that was the big news last night out of the primaries. Yesterday, we talked with Wiggins about the race in Alaska, where they had the Democrats ran another candidate with the same name to try to confuse voters, but the Republican senator won in the jungle primary up there and will face off against the Democrat for the general election. So disaster avoided in Alaska, even though ranked choice voting continues to suck. We can all agree on that. So lots of that stuff to get to. Apparently, we're friends again with Canada for 3 days before we tell them to, go pound sand again. I heard that news this morning. The president has suspended tariffs
the 50%
for 3
tariffs.
days.
Mm-hmm.
For 3 days while they hammer out a memorandum of understanding that basically says, hey, we're neighbors. Like if you went to dinner with your neighbor once a month, and every time your neighbor expected you to pay, you'd get tired of that after a while. That's the Canadian-U.S. relationship for the past 50 years. We've been carrying them for 50 years. And Donald Trump stood up and said, well, this isn't fair. Why do you tariff our stuff coming in, but you don't expect us to tariff Canadian goods coming into the U.S.? No. We're not doing it that way. And the Canadians acted like we had committed treason or something. because we suddenly want to be treated fairly by our neighbors to the north. It's no more than that. It's really that simple. I mean, that guy up there hates Donald Trump for daring to suggest that we should have fair trade with them. They think we should continue to bleed money to Canada. And Donald Trump said no. It's pretty simple. And I think clearly Trump's about to win that fight because he's going to give him 3 days to reach an agreement. And I'm pretty sure Canada will buckle, eh?
Oh, nice.
What you think?
I guess I don't fully understand it because I know the Supreme Court just slapped down the tariffs, so
Well,
Trump was
that's
having
right.
to repay it. So then I was a little confused because I was trying to think, okay, how is he able to do this with Canada now?
There are many different ways to skin a duck, and I think that's what it comes down to. He found other ways to apply tariffs, and it's fair's fair. That's all. That's all that comes down to. Ooh, just saw lightning outside the studio here, so the storms are coming. I tell you what, I went a little long in that segment, Ethan. Why don't we take a quick break here? We will play our national anthem. We had people questioning yesterday whether we played it or not. We will play our national anthem. Are they going to be able to hear this on the stream? You will not hear the national anthem on the stream. I apologize for that, but again,
You'll hear feeding the ducks.
don't blame me. Blame the Facebook and YouTube and all of these jerks that want to charge us extra money when we play music on the internet. I don't know what they're all just. I guess they're just greedy. I that's all I can figure. Anyway, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Well, you can look out your window and guess what kind of commute we're going to have. But we're still in summer, so that should balance it out a bit. Now, wet roadways throughout the area. Just take it easy. We have a real slow go on northbound 55 ramping on to 270. And it's difficult to see. I can't tell whether there's actually an accident there or it's just a slow go. If you go through there and see something, let me know on X at Susan6768. But that's the delay I'm seeing. We're quiet everywhere else, and I will keep you posted this morning. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, when this is all over with today, the storms that are moving through, if indeed the result is water that ends up in your basement, you know what you have to do. You have to call my friends at Home Shield Foundation Repairs and let Matt get over, and he will take care of it for you, right? Just once and for all, finish it and get it dried up and get it sealed, or put the drain tiles in, or dig the sump pump, or whatever you need done, right? He's going to address the issue. He's going to have you taken care of, and you won't have to fret that the next time that this kind of weather comes through, and you know it's going to happen again next week. So call him at 314-271-9900. Love what Matt does. He's a family guy, runs a local business, and he has a 24-month same as cash offer right now. So no financing fees or anything. You can get the job done. Take your time paying for it with no penalties. So reach out today to Home Shield Foundation Repairs. You can go online. Tell them Mark sent you. It's homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
The time now is 5:21, and this time check is brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center. We've got Kim on a Whim coming up at 5:35.
What Medicare for All does is it does away with the private insurance market, right? It now has one single payer. That's why we call it single payer, right? One insurance, and that is the government of the United States.
Yeah, where does this moron think we've been? This is this Al Sayed idiot in Michigan talking about universal health care. Remember, if you want to like your doctor, you can keep him. Forget about it. These people are insane, and he's admitting up front that if you currently like your health care, you are screwed so that they can give free stuff to everybody else.
Not a day goes by that we are hearing from our farmers and our agricultural workers that because of these illegal tariffs, because of this absurd immigration policy and this improper usage of this lawless ICE agency, that we are now seeing how their costs are going up.
You got it. This is the angle the Democrats are going to be taking throughout this election. They're going to try to claim increased prices on the president and everything else, including Wes Moore. There, the governor of Maryland is trying to blame ICE for lawlessness in the United States.
Tiffany, why hasn't McConnell released the video yet or responded to Governor Beshear? When is he going to release something like a video or more information? How's he doing? How's his condition?
That was them asking questions to Mitch McConnell's chief of staff, who just walked away. He had nothing to say. Sort of like his boss. He had nothing to say. Where's Mitch been for 2 months? Oh, no comment. No comment.
Are Taiwan and the South China Sea national security issues for the United States? And if so, why or how?
I'm just going to be honest here. I'm not on national security. I'm not that informed on national security, so.
Oh, horrible. A horrible debate performance for Darlene Graham, Lindsey Graham's sister, last night. You know, this went to a runoff down there because she didn't get 50%. I think the president and some other people rushed in and endorsed her out of their friendship to Lindsey, and they assumed she would win 50% of the vote in the primary. Well, she didn't. So she's in a runoff election with what's his name? Ralph Norman, I think is his name. He's a current congressman from South Carolina. And, man, her debate performance last night, she might have just lost this race down there to this Norman guy because they asked her this simple question about U.S.-Taiwan policy. Why didn't somebody prepare her for that?
I know she didn't have a lot of time, but, I mean,
she had plenty of time.
Well, she didn't have the time that I'm sure the typical candidate would have.
You mean to prepare?
To prepare for that. But that doesn't mean, they should have been flooding her with information.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, let's get very clear on where we stand on these particular issues.
It's one thing to be a placeholder for a few months as a United States Senator, but you have to be able to understand complex issues like the U.S. relationship with Taiwan and China. You have to understand those things. I want you to listen to her full answer, because when she did start to answer it, she didn't even address the question. She started talking about her support for the military, which has nothing to do with Taiwan and China. Listen to this. It was painful.
Are Taiwan and the South China Sea national security issues for the United States? And if so, why or how?
I'm just going to be honest here. I'm not on national security. I'm not that informed on national security, but I do support the military. My brother was in the Air Force for 33 years, so I will do everything I can to support the military. My dad was in the Army. I'm not a polished politician up here. National security is not my thing, not my area of expertise, but I do support the military.
Yeah, Darlene, you just look like, you're just so sweet. I was watching that going, oh, man.
Man, her campaign manager must have been just cringing.
Uncomfortable. So then they bounced over to her opponent and said, "Mr. Norman, would you like an opportunity to answer that?" And he's sitting there chomping at the bit because he really wanted to tear her up. So here it is. Hang on.
Taiwan's a definite ally. And, we have a trading relationship with them that is beneficial to the United States, chips being one of them, and others. So what the president is doing right is he's enabling Taiwan to defend themselves against China. But it's peace through strength that he's showing with Iran that China, Russia, others are looking at it so that they don't want to deal with America, and that's why they haven't attacked Taiwan. If they had some weak Democrat in office like Biden or another Obama, yeah, they'd take it over. But we can't let that happen. We got to take a strong peace through strength is working.
Peace through strength has always worked with the Taiwan issue. Do you see the danger of that question is if she come out and said, "We support Taiwan as an independent country," I mean, that would fly directly in the face of longstanding U.S. foreign policy. He answered the question perfectly. Taiwan is an ally. They're a trade partner. We have empowered them to defend themselves, and they know that peace through strength, they have the backing of the United States and not being harassed by China. But he stopped short of saying we consider them an independent country. It was a pretty simple prep work by Darlene Graham's handlers, and they blew the assignment. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in that runoff. I think it's coming up on the 28th. It's before the end of the month. So they got maybe another 10 days of that race, and it's about to get ugly. We'll be back with Kim on a Whim in just a minute.
I'm Stuart Varley, and this is the Fox Business Report.
More big retail companies report earnings today. Wall Street expects improvement in Target's sales and profit. Its new CEO, Michael Fidelki, is working on a turnaround plan. Also today, TJX, parent of TJ Maxx, chipmaker Analog Devices, also Estee Lauder and River Cruise Company Viking Holdings, and home improvement company Lowe's. Its competitor Home Depot reported upbeat earnings yesterday on more small do-it-yourself projects and contractors who are doing more plumbing and electrical work. Barron's market reporter Jacob Sonnenschein says it's a good sign.
You know, the home building stocks are positioned nicely for a little bit of a bounce, and I'd like to see what happens with Lowe's now, too.
Today, the minutes are released from last month's Federal Reserve meeting. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Coselda. Invested in you.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I am grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Rain this morning, and you're going to want to give yourself just a few extra minutes to get where you're going. There is an accident on northbound 55 right there at 270. Difficult to see what lane is blocked. I put the video up on X at Susan6768, but you can see the flashing lights, and there's a little bit of a delay in that area. But other than that, we look good at this hour from North County to out west. On the Illinois side, it's quiet right now, so just take it easy this morning. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, today, this morning, not the day to go out and sit on your back porch and have coffee, unless, of course, you've had Chesterfield Fence come over and enclose that back porch for you, make it an all-season room, maybe just a screen room so you can sit out there and enjoy the weather without the bugs. The Chesterfield Fence can do all that for you and so much more. It's why I've enjoyed working with them over the years. Right now, they'll give you 20% off the bottom line. You go ahead and they've got great financing as well. You can get your summer project started and enjoy it before the season is over. And that's the beauty of Chesterfield Fence. When you've been around this many years, since 1968, you know how to handle yourselves, right? You know how to get things done. And they take a lot of pride and workmanship in what they do over there, and they can do it all from a back patio to a deck to fencing to pergolas, you name it. They've got great products. You can see them in their showroom in Chesterfield, or you can have them come to your house for a free estimate. And of course, they do free project design on top of all that. If you have that sign in your yard, it's a sign you have the very best working for you, and your neighbors are going to be jealous. Go online today. Be sure and tell them that Mark Cox sent you. When you reach out, it is chesterfieldfence.com.
PETA is offering a reward up to $5,000 if you can help find the person who left guinea pigs to die in the extreme heat. The 4 guinea pigs were found dumped on the side of the old Highway N near Hawk Ridge Trail at the border of O'Fallon and Lake St. Louis on August 9th. They were found inside these exercise balls. The heat index was over 100 that day. By the time they were found, 3 of the 4 guinea pigs had died. The other continues to recover.
All right. Let's just moment of silence for the guinea pigs. All right, that is sad. Who abandons guinea pigs on the side of the road? But
I'm not laughing at their death. Our policy was always to just let them die on their own because we've never successfully had one of those little animals in our house that survived that experience. I'm not quite sure why.
I think I went through 6 hamsters maybe as a kid. In fact, I do remember that as a kid we had a frog that we got from our backyard, and we put it in a big old fish tank right by a big window, a big bay window in our playroom. And we came in one day, I think I told this story before on the air, and the frog was kind of a cracker. He basically got baked alive, I think, because of the sun coming in.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of what they're saying happened here. You have one of those clear, little
exercise
balls that they were in. And it almost makes you think, did somebody, were they in a car somehow and they flew out? I don't know. Who just leaves a guinea pig in an exercise ball on the side of the road? Anyway, yes, that is sad for the guinea pig. All right. And I feel like I'm about to tick some people off here with this comment. That's okay. It seems a little ridiculous that PETA's offering a $5,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest and a conviction of the person who left the guinea pigs here.
They are big mad.
I know they're big mad, but that money could be far better spent on, I don't know, missing children.
Thank you.
Why are we at a point in society where people care more about animals than they do people?
That's nothing new. Over the years, as a reporter, we would cover stories of people being murdered and people missing and all that stuff, and then we'd cover a story about an animal that was sick or injured, and the GoFundMe page or whatever it is would be triple for the animal what it was for the human. We've seen examples of that before, or where the reward fund for the injured animal to find out whoever did that was twice as much as it was for the person that lost their house in a fire. I've seen it again and again. I can't explain that human emotion, but for some reason people step up when it comes to animals.
There was a show called The Daily Blast Live that was talking about this because, like you said, you're right. It's nothing really new, but it seems like it's gotten a little bit worse. But here's their take on why this happens.
Yeah.
I feel like your dog will never, ever do anything but love you. And I think sometimes that's all people want. I think your partner may say, Sam, you really dropped the ball on that. Al, you could have handled that better. You shouldn't have said that. And you feel bad. But when you come home, no matter what happened that day, no matter what you said on DBL, no matter what kind of argument you had in the car, your dog is happy to see you. And I think people just want unfiltered love.
Did you read Richie's comment that just popped up here on YouTube?
Saying what? I care about animals more than people?
No. The subhuman blankety blank who left these animals to die like that, what do you say, needs to suffer the same cruel death. So I think what you didn't see at the bottom of the PETA's thing is if they can hand the $5,000 to somebody, they'll double it if you'll also crunch that person up and put them in a little ball and leave them out in the sun.
Well, yeah, why don't you take care of that, Richie?
I'm not making fun of that. I agree that anybody that would do, I'd love to know the details of how that happened. Did a kid do it? I think a lot of people would like an answer to that. It is extraordinarily cruel to do that to those animals.
Of course it's cruel, but my argument really is, again, we care more about people. I'm sorry, we should care more about people. We care more about animals than people. People are made in the image of God. Animals are not. So do I want guinea pigs to suffer and basically bake alive in an exercise ball on the side of the road? Of course not. No. That is inhumane. No one would argue that. And if you would make that argument, well, you might want to ask yourself some serious questions. But it just is sad when you think about how many people prefer animals over children. There was a study that came out that talked about how many more people would prefer to have adult-only restaurants. They would allow dogs, but they wouldn't allow kids. It seems like there's been a shift. And I feel like people, I'm just going to say this. I know I'm going to make some of you mad. I feel like there are people who are lonely, that's like they don't want kids, or I don't know. It's like that becomes the replacement. And I don't know. It's not that animals aren't amazing. I love dogs. I grew up with a dog. I don't have one right now, but I'll tell you what, my husband and I have talked about getting a dog multiple times. I know we want one in the future.
You just need one that likes your spouse.
We're just not, we're not in the right season of life. Yeah, I did have a dog. In
You
fact,
did have a dog.
And I will admit,
Yeah, just didn't like Michael.
didn't like Michael. I was, I guess, lonely. I mean, it was the height of COVID. We were all told to isolate, and not talk to any humans, basically. And so I adopted a dog who had been abused, Levi, and he had a serious fear of men. And it didn't matter how many men, the guys would try to. I remember one time Michael came over when we were dating, and he made a ton of bacon, like not the little bacon strips. I'm talking like actual legit bacon, trying to win over Levi. We went to dog training sessions with. I mean, we were investing a lot into
You didn't
this.
get the dog. You didn't bring in Caesar the dog whisperer. You should have done that.
I'm sorry, I missed out on that opportunity. Who is that?
What? What?
What? That is not a known thing.
Oh, yes, it is.
The dog whisperer?
Caesar Milan?
No.
Caesar, come on. Caesar, he gets his hand bitten sometime, but at the end of the show, the dog's calm, cool, and collected. I don't know how he does it.
I've never heard of that.
I didn't. Wow. That's not old. That guy's still on TV.
Yeah.
You got to Google that. That could have saved your dog. Caesar Milan.
This is definitely new information for me right now. You hadn't heard of the Sunday Scaries the other day. Was that you as well? Have you heard of the Sunday Scaries?
I have not.
No.
What? That's crazy. See, that's wild to me that you've not heard the term Sunday Scaries.
Don't distract from the issue.
I know.
You don't know who Caesar Milan is.
It's deflecting.
Darn straight, I'm deflecting. Anyway, it's just kind of a sad reality that we live in. And I'm not trying to knock people who love their dogs. You should love your dog. Dogs are amazing. I can't wait to have a dog someday. It's just, I guess it's where I feel like people truly just care more about animals than they do people.
If
is
you
where
can
it
be
makes me
cruel
sad.
like that to animals and or children, you need to be locked up.
And Debbie's saying that
Just like Lindsay Clancy needs to be locked up.
you've got some feelings on that. I feel like when I made that argument
I'm
yesterday
trying to
for
get
my
you
second,
started
for
again.
my second Kim on a Whim at 7:50, if you want to listen to it on the Odyssey app, I don't know how much you really said about that. I think you have some differing feelings about that than I do, about what Matt Walsh said.
No, I don't. I think Matt Walsh went too far. I think you have to acknowledge the seriousness of postpartum depression. But I just don't think – I think people are getting a little carried away. The woman admitted that she killed her children, number one. Number two, she was on 13 different medications as prescribed by different doctors, and there's got to be a medical malpractice suit there somewhere, and there's got to be lessons learned moving forward about how to deal with this very serious form of depression that led her to kill her children. Now people are floating all kinds of weird conspiracy theories that her husband actually did it and set her up. And, I mean, come on. She admitted to killing the children. She's sick and twisted, and she needs to go to jail for a long time. But that, to me, that's the postpartum thing is a separate discussion. I don't doubt the seriousness of it. That doesn't take away from the fact that she's guilty of murdering her children, in my opinion.
I think she's
That's
guilty.
all.
No, I think she's guilty too, and she should be
I
punished for it.
Matt-
But no
Matt-
doubt. But
Matt
but
Walsh very clearly said this is not an excuse. Postpartum is not an excuse. This is not a thing. Get over it. It was kind of his attitude about it. When there's plenty of evidence that it is a thing. You went through it yourself.
Well, I didn't go through
so have
postpartum
many others.
depression, but I experienced other things that you can feel kind of crazy. For sure.
Okay.
I think it's
I'm
people.
just saying,
I think it's
don't
people like Matt Walsh
agree
who
with
are
Walsh.
like they just use such strong words and they act like they're so righteous in saying that, and like, I'm the only brave enough person to say this to women. They need to hear it. And it's not just that; it's things they say to men or to anybody. And you look ridiculous. It's harsh, and it's especially as a follower of Christ, you're supposed to. It's doing and saying things in love. And I understand that there can be tough love, but that was not it. What Matt Walsh did, and that's not a good representation of someone who's a believer. As a fellow believer myself, it's just not good.
We need to continue that conversation about Lindsay Clancy at some point. There's an article, a headline in the Post, not the Post, the New York Post today, that Lindsay Clancy ran a road race hours after giving birth, according to her doctor and the defense who testified yesterday.
I saw that, but what does that have to do with postpartum depression?
I don't know,
Are they trying to connect the dots there?
Psychiatrist calls it unusual. I guess they're trying to play into the fact that she was really not in her right mind from the minute the child was born, because a day or two later she got out and ran a marathon. Is that
marathon?
A thing? No, a 5K.
Okay. I cannot imagine a woman
hours
doing that.
after giving birth to her youngest child in 2022, months before strangling him and his two siblings with exercise bands in the family's basement.
It's unusual. By the way, today is my son Hudson's first birthday. So 1 year ago today, in fact, I had him around 3:30 in the morning, and I woke up this morning and I'm getting ready, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I had him right here on the bathroom floor, right there.
A year ago.
Well,
happy birthday to
Hudson.
Are you calling him Huddy? What do you call him?
I know, I call him Hudsy.
Hudson.
Hudsaroni Pony. I have all kinds of names.
You call Easton Easty?
Easty, yeah.
Just wondered.
You know,
Happy
you all
birthday to
have weird
Hudson.
nicknames.
You do.
Can't
We
laugh
all
at the
have weird.
Hudsaroni Pony.
I can't.
That's funny.
That's cute.
Yeah. All right. We'll get to a quick break. We'll be back in just a minute.
Accident on northbound 55, really near Butler Hill. Watch for the right lane to be blocked through there. There was another one reported at 55. Not sure whether it's the same one, but we just have a delay in that area. Wet roads this morning. Take it easy. Give yourself plenty of time. We're even starting to slow on the Illinois side just a bit. Westbound 64 approaching 255, and that, of course, is where westbound 64 is closed, 255 to 18th Street through Monday at 5 a.m. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, thank goodness for your roof this morning, man. It's pouring out there. There's storms all over the place, and I hope you took my advice and let Curtis Carell come out and take a look at it before. Hopefully you don't have any damage from this today. The storms aren't going to be that bad. But if you haven't had that roof inspected in the last 3, 4, 5 years, we've had a lot of serious storms over that period of time. And there's a chance you could have damage you're not even aware of, but damage that could lead to you getting a new roof through your insurance company, and you won't know till you get it inspected. Here's the great thing about it. I love free. This roofing inspection is not going to cost you a dime. Every roofing company will do that, but you have to be able to trust the person getting up on your roof, that they're not just there trying to make a dollar. And I'll guarantee you, Curtis Carell is not that person. He's as honest as the day is long. He's going to get on your roof, take a look at it. If he sees damage, he'll tell you. If he doesn't see damage, he'll tell you. If you just got some minor shingle problem, he can fix that for you. You got to have somebody you can trust who's giving you that information, which is why I'm referring you to my friend Curtis. You're going to love him. He's a patriot. He's a rah-rah American. He's just a good family guy, and he's the kind of guy you want working for you. 314-222-9529. That's 222-9529, or you can go to their website. Be sure and tell them you heard Marc Cox bragging about him. It's CorellRoofingCo.com. This whole music thing is giving me a headache, and I apologize to all of you on the interwebs this morning. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, Rumble, all that, the audio you're hearing there is that we've had to change the music, and I see my friend Lisa, who must have chimed in a little late this morning or joined us. We've had to stop playing our regular music on the internet because they're threatening to sue us for fees. I shouldn't say sue us. I don't know that legal action is happening, but I know that YouTube has threatened to shut down the feed, and Facebook does it to us, and all of these, they all want a chunk of your money is what they want. In other words, we pay licensing fees as a radio station, but that's not good enough for YouTube and Rumble, and they want their slice of the pie too. So they want us to also pay them, and at the end of the day, we're not going to pay twice for it. So we want to provide the program to you in as many ways as we can, but one way we're going to have to continue doing that for free is to do it by not putting out whatever music intro we play into or out of a segment onto the internet feed. So if you're listening to us on social media other than the Odyssey app, you will not hear our music. You're going to hear a different music when that's going on. And Kim let me listen to a little bit of it earlier. I would almost rather not have music at all than have to play that stuff.
You talking about feeding the ducks?
That whatever that dance pop thing was that we were playing.
I didn't play that one for
What
you,
was
but
it?
that people were not a fan of that one.
Well, I'm just saying.
The rock one wasn't too bad, but they also have one night driving, into space, daydreaming, acoustic cinematic. There's a few others I have not played for you guys yet. I'll switch it up. I'll try.
Yeah. I apologize for it. There's really, we've tried, we fought it as long as we can, and there's not much we can do about it. On the bright side, and I was just talking to Drew about this a little earlier. I see an opportunity for us to be able to go back and play real music in the bumps because we're not including the music on the feeds. So, I mean, that opportunity, that possibility exists. I was just talking to a friend about that last night. I miss that. I miss having more freedom to play the music. By God, we paid for it. One reason we altered that was to try to alleviate this situation, and we continued to get in conflicts with these social media companies over the music they were hearing in the background or whatever in our feeds. And what they end up doing is just removing the content completely from their pages. And that's no good. Right? You don't want to put up with that.
The whole music thing is really irritating that they take down the entire show recording if they flag however many seconds it is of a song.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing we're going to be talking about in the next hour, I'll talk a little bit more about this, is Denny Hoskins, who we had on here about a week ago, talking about this IP initiative reform for redistricting that he's in the middle of a battle over. And there's another one where these leftists, now I'm gonna say something that's gonna piss some of you off, but anybody who voted against Amendment 4, the group of people you were supporting with your vote, the leftists who always want to change the Missouri Constitution, well, they're at it again. They have an initiative petition that they want to be voted on in November, which we could have prevented had you voted for Amendment 4, that would forever permanently ban anybody from restricting initiative petition. So that's where they're going to go. Now that they know that you're on to them and they're afraid the Missouri legislature will continue to try to figure out a way to protect our Constitution, they want to put wording in the Constitution that will never allow that to happen. And Denny Hoskins is the last man standing to protect the state against that nonsense. But this is what leftists do. So, by the way, if you're mad at me for saying that, or you're still happy that you voted against Amendment 4, raise your hand if you can name me the one conservative initiative petition that's on the ballot in November. Name me one. Name me any that was citizen-driven. There aren't any because conservatives don't use that process to try to change the Constitution. We do it legislatively. And the left uses that process to do an end run around your elected representatives. And we tried to stop them from doing that, but you voted no on Amendment 4. And now, if they win this court battle with Denny Hoskins, the game is over. Just so you know, we'll talk more about it at the top of the hour. We'll be back in a minute.
Could make history. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The Republican congressman wins a primary in Florida, trying to become the state's first black governor.
Tonight, we put aside our differences. Tonight, we are one united Republican Party.
Donalds will face David Jolly, who used to be a Republican in Congress, now a Trump critic who won the Democratic primary for governor. A Democratic socialist scored an upset in Florida. Angie Nixon, who was outspent 16-1, defeated Alex Vindman, who to win the Democratic Senate primary to challenge GOP Senator Ashley Moody.
But progressives did see a loss in the 25th congressional district, where DSA-backed candidate Oliver Larkin failed to prevail against the incumbent Jared Moskowitz. Moskowitz saying in a statement, Democratic voters sent a clear message. I faced a challenge from the DSA. They threw everything at me, and I didn't change who I am or what I believe.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. A Republican congressman was primaried out. Corey Mills, the 11th House incumbent defeated this year. Mills, who's under an ethics investigation, lost to GOP challenger Ryan Elijah. In Alaska, Democrat Mary Peltola finished first in a Senate primary. Republican incumbent Dan Sullivan was second. They and two others advanced in November in a ranked choice voting contest. Canada is not being hit with big new tariffs this morning.
The president releasing a statement just hours before the tariffs were supposed to take effect, writing on Truth Social. I have paused the 50% tariffs against Canada for a 3-day period based on the fact that Canada and the USA, subject to the finalization of documents, have a deal.
Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer. Stalemate remains in the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump insists it's open and the U.S. controls it.
Immediately after the statement by the president about the Strait of Hormuz, Iranian officials denied the critical waterway is open. Now, the Iranians did launch multiple attacks on vessels there over the weekend.
That's Fox's Trey Yingst. America's listening to Fox News.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil, one simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to metamucil.com for more details.
Ice Cube's Big 3 season has come down to this. The Big 3 Championship is coming to Charlotte. Who will be crowned the Big 3 Season 9 champion? Plus the Big 3 All-Star Game. The biggest names in the game, all on one court, one more time. 2 games of the most physical, competitive, and non-stop 3-on-3 action. The game played the way you love. Watch live Saturday on CBS at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and catch replays Monday on BET.
Yay, yay!
Good morning, I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. Heads up here, 6:03 is our time. We have had some storms moving through the area, lightning outside the studio downtown. Just keep that in mind as you're heading out. You might see some minor flooding. Here's what's linking headlines across St. Louis on this Wednesday, August 19th. The St. Charles County man is pushing for the library to ban the Bible because he says it depicts acts of violence. Brian Rorta points to the verse in Matthew that says, any follower of Jesus who causes another believer to stumble, it would be better to have a large millstone hung around their neck and be drowned in the depths of the sea. Rorta says he's challenging the Bible as part of a protest against a recent St. Charles City County Library Board decision to ban LGBTQ pride flags. The board was set to review his request at last night's meeting. Well, this is pretty cool. Walmart drone delivery could be coming to St. Charles and Maplewood. Whim, which is the company that operates these drones for Walmart, says the drones fly up about 150 feet in the sky and can carry up to 5 pounds. They can make a delivery on your driveway, the side of your home. There are options, they say. Now, keep in mind, nothing is finalized here for either St. Charles or Maplewood. There's no word yet on a possible launch date. Security upgrades have been finished at all 38 Metrolink stations. The upgrades also include a new ticket vending machine where riders can buy individual tickets. These new gates will also only allow paying customers to get through. Metro says it also added more than 1,000 security cameras near the stations and platforms. In sports, a great day for the Cards. They shut out the Reds yesterday. Final score 3-0. Playing again today. First pitch is 5:40. We're coming up on 6:04, 73 degrees. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Rain and wet roadways this morning and a couple of accidents along northbound 55, one at Butler Hill, this one involving a tractor trailer and a couple of regular vehicles. And then there was one closer to 270. So the right lanes are blocked and it's caused a delay in that area. That appears to be the worst of it at this hour. The rest of the area, both the Missouri and Illinois sides, quiet at this hour. This report brought to you by Spas and More. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
73 degrees here downtown. We're 6 minutes after the hour. As a reminder, you can take the Marc Cox Morning Show with you wherever you go. Listen to the show anytime from anywhere. Someone, in fact, said they were listening from Australia this morning. Love it. You'll find it all on the free Odyssey app.
Welcome back, and good morning to you on your Wednesday morning. A little bit of rain. It's pouring out there in places right now. We drove in a little bit on the way in this morning, but to be honest, it's going to last. Let me see here. I was looking at the radar again, and I'm not a meteorologist, nor did I play one on TV, but it looks to me like we're going to be facing this throughout most of the morning. Maybe after 10 a.m. this morning, this starts to fade off a little bit and drift off to the south. If you are south of St. Louis, it looks to me like you're getting the bulk of the storms. Certainly down north of Farmington, south of there in Fredericktown, they're getting hammered with some serious storms right now. And then most of the thunder and lightning, and a lot of that has then moved off over southern Illinois. So regardless, it's going to be a mess on your drive in. There's no doubt about that. Sue Thomas has already been covering that a little bit. And I have a question for her when we get her on here a little later. Is this, I see signs this morning, Kim. Did you see those? That this weekend,
did see signs, but what signs are you talking about?
You see signs. I see stupid people everywhere. There are signs that say I-64 is going to shut down eastbound at Jefferson this weekend.
I did not see that.
On Saturday. From early morning hours till mid-afternoon sometime. According to that, they're shutting down 64 eastbound at Jefferson. So downtown, that'll be completely blocked. I don't know where they're going to detour people to. If they're going to take them off at Jefferson and reroute them around that somehow. I don't know I don't know why they're doing it. So I'll have to ask Sue.
There is a city game. In fact, I just realized there's a city game today. I'm sorry. Not a big soccer fan, so I do my best to check, and I just kind of forget about City SC, if I'm being completely honest. So they're playing Sporting KC at 7 o'clock. But anyway, there is a city game this Saturday at home versus Houston, so that would affect you, I guess.
Yeah, well, if you're coming downtown for that, on anything on Saturday or headed east on 64, maybe over to southern Illinois, then you're going to be hit by that. We'll try to get a few more details on what that's going to look like between now and Friday. So we've got lots of good stuff coming up for you. We'll get to our friend Derrick Morgan next hour from the Heritage Foundation. We're going to talk to Fox News superstar Martha MacCullum in the 8 o'clock hour today. We're getting here. We tried to get her scheduled. When was that, Kim? A couple weeks ago for Shannon, and they kept putting us off, and they finally got around to scheduling her this morning.
But we were trying to get Dana Perino, right?
Correct.
And then we had Martha MacCullum. So, yeah, we've been trying to get a bunch of people at Fox.
It's been tough to get Dana Perino because, I don't know, she's got her own schedule, but she goes on with Bill Hemmer just as our show goes off the air, and I guess she's doing her own show prep during that time. So it's been hard to get her live on the radio in the morning. But we do have Martha MacCullum. I'm looking forward to that. I think she does a great job at Fox and asks the hard questions up there sometimes. So we're going to get her on this morning at about 8:35. Stay tuned for that. If you're following along on the streaming, I feel like I need to say this every hour this morning because Ethan to inform me that we've instituted something today that is going to be a bit of a change for those of you who listen on social media. If you're on the radio, if you're on the audio app listening, you shouldn't notice a difference. If you're watching us on YouTube or X or something like that, you will notice that the music is not there at the beginning of segments. Primarily, it's a licensing issue, and we've tried every way in the world to get around it, and at the end of the day, we've just had to eliminate the music from the feed. That includes the national anthem and other stuff like that. I don't. Can they hear commercials, Ethan? Are they hearing any of that? So apparently all that's been pulled off the stream.
Well, yeah. I realize, so I'm trying to control the music, but I have like a few buttons I'm trying to click in and out of commercial break. And I didn't realize that if I had the music bed playing underneath my headlines, I thought it would just automatically stop and you'd only hear me talking for headlines. Several of you were saying it was actually playing underneath and it was very distracting.
Oh.
So now we know moving forward, I do need to click off the music before I start. So moving forward, that won't be an issue.
So we'll fine-tune this a little bit as we go along, and we apologize for that. Again, if you're on the Odyssey app, that's not the same as streaming. That's a different app, and we don't have a problem with that because we are Odyssey right now, but we do have a problem on some of the social media stuff. So that is what it is. We fought the good fight, and we lost that one for sure. Sorry about that. We'll get to the St. Louis Morning Brief. Lots of good local stories coming up, including more on maybe this fight that Denny Hoskins is undertaking. We should get a decision from a Cole County judge on that. Maybe before the end of the week, I guess, because it's still got to go to the Supreme Court. It'll be appealed whichever way it goes on this whole redistricting challenge and the initiative petition. There's a separate initiative petition challenge for people that want to keep you from ever changing initiative petitions in the future. And I'm sure whichever way the decision goes in the Cole County Court, it'll be appealed to the Missouri Supreme Court. There's a September 8th deadline to put things on the ballot, so it has to get resolved before then. So that way, if the challengers do win, then they can get their issue on the ballot, and if they don't, then they don't. But they'll have to make a decision by the 8th, for sure. We do know that much for sure. All right, Ethan, let's go ahead and get to some of our top stories, please.
I don't think we want our health care in the hands of politicians deciding what tests we can get, what doctors we can see.
Yeah, that is Ronna McDaniel. Remember her? She ran the RNC for a while, but she's from Michigan, and she's talking about this Abdul Al-Sayed, who admitted yesterday that he wants he wants to eliminate private health care. He wants taxpayer-paid health care for everyone, which is completely insane.
A lot of people use the 9/11 comments that I made in 2019 as a way to declare myself to be a radical, an America-hating radical. And it's really interesting because I misspoke on that. And I actually very clearly was describing the concept of blowback in the longer context of it all. And I also apologize for it.
I don't know. Apology not accepted. That's Hassan Piker, this insane leftist who somehow has found an audience on the interwebs. I don't understand who's listening to him, but apparently the DSA people do. He's the one who once said America deserved what happened on 9/11 as we approach that anniversary, and now he wants to backtrack from that.
Todd Blanche wants the Justice Department to be politicized. That's what he went on television on Sunday and said.
Yeah, that's Chuck Todd. Remember him? He used to be relevant. He's not anymore. He's not on network, the network Sunday shows anymore. Meet the Depressed. He's no longer on there, but he's big mad at Todd Blanche. Oh, are you pointing at me? Hang on just a minute. Here we go.
Are Taiwan and the South China Sea national security issues for the United States, and if so, why or how?
I'm just going to be honest here. I'm not on national security. I'm not that informed on national security, so.
Darlene Graham Nordone there is Lindsey Graham's sister, and she had a debate last night with Ralph Norman down in South Carolina. It didn't end well. I'll just have to say it. She came across as, now, I mean, it's one thing to say I'm not a politician and I'm just a good person and I just want to be a senator. And I love her accent, by the way, because I worked in South Carolina for a while. I'm not making fun of it. I love her accent. But it's not enough in a Senate race where serious issues are at stake. And her inability to answer that question is not going to go over well with the voters in South Carolina. Her opponent, Ralph Norman, nailed the answer on Taiwan and China policy. It's like the guy that ran for the Libertarian Party a few years ago. What was his name? Gary something, when they asked him about Aleppo and Syria, and his answer was, "What is Aleppo?" Like that rings hollow when you are asked a serious national security question and you can't answer it Darlene Green, nobody had prepped her for a potential question about China and Taiwan. I mean, I didn't expect her to be a subject matter expert, but at least say she agrees with current U.S. policy that we support Taiwan. We don't recognize them as an independent country, but they're a trade partner, and we support their right to be free. It's that simple. It's a throwaway sentence. But somebody had not prepared her at all, and shame on them for that. She looked kind of silly.
Yeah, there's just so many ways to skirt around that. Even if you're not really sure, any good campaign manager should have said, hey, if there's a question that comes up, you're not confident about it, here's what you do to basically appear as if you know what you're talking about, but not really answer the question. That's PR 101. So again, I don't know who's running her campaign. Either they were sitting backstage cringing, thinking, I prepared you better for this, or they are terrible at their job and she needs to find somebody else if she even has a chance anymore moving forward, because that was not good.
Yeah, she's in a runoff now. She should have hired Kamala Harris's campaign people and
that
just
went
thrown
really
out thrown out a little bit of word salad, and then the media would have been happy.
She needs to hire these DSA candidate campaign managers, because clearly they're doing something right.
What you don't want to say is, I don't know nothing about national security. That is never a good answer. Lindsey Graham is rolling over in his grave right now with that answer, I'll bet you. All right, coming up, we're going to get to the St. Louis Morning Brief, a check of business this morning, and we will get to In Other News, some very sad news overnight for fans of ZZ Top. We'll get to all that for you before the end of the hour.
Well, just be careful on the wet roadways this morning. There is an accident northbound 55 near Butler Hill. Looks like it's mostly on the shoulder, maybe in the right lane, but and it's causing a delay. So it's a slow go in that area. But it looks like they may have cleared the accident a little to the north of there at 255. So expect a slow go this morning, northbound 55, Butler Hill through 270. Other than that, we look good on the Missouri side. On the Illinois side, there's already a delay on westbound 64 at 157. That, of course, is because the westbound 64 lanes are completely closed. 255 through 18th Street. This report brought to you by the fabulous people at the Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
What's going on in the real estate market? That's a good question. You may have, I see for sale signs these days. I know homes are still selling. What would your home sell for? Do you know? If you don't, you need to put one call in to my friend Gloria Liu, and you'll get a quick and professional answer and analysis of what your home's worth in this market. Plus, you can ask her while you've got her on the phone or one of her associates, what exactly is it when you guarantee to sell my home or that you'll buy it? Because that's one of her programs. The other one is she'll promise that your home will sell in her plan for 100% of market value, or she will make up the difference. She'll pay you the difference. So when you go to closing, you know you didn't leave any money on the table. That's great, because most of us need that cash to close on the next house. So if you want those guarantees, if you want that satisfaction from my real estate agent, she helped me with my home sale coming up on 2 years ago now. You want to work with Gloria Liu. 314-325-6888. It's an easy phone number to remember, or just go to her website. Be sure and tell her you heard Marc Cox bragging about her. It's gloriahasthebuyers.com.
The time now is 6:21, and this time check is brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center. Looks like St. Louis County is changing the way you can panhandle. Kim and Marc are going to have the details in the St. Louis Morning Brief.
And ultimately, these new restrictions that St. Louis County just passed are going to be a good thing. This passed 6-1 vote, and what it does is it bans asking for money in an aggressive manner. So it says it bans that for motorists at traffic stops, bus stops within 15 feet of an ATM or on private property during inclement weather and at night.
What's the definition of an aggressive manner?
Glad you asked that. It says it defines aggressive behavior as touching someone without their permission, which I would hope so, intimidation, continuing to ask for money even when someone has declined, blocking traffic, using obscene or abusive language, or causing someone to fear bodily harm.
Okay.
They've tried to do this before, but a judge has continuously struck it down.
Yeah, they'll find a way around this one, too. They'll hire a good attorney and wow.
Well, Sam Page still has to sign it, and I could just see him trying to stick it to the council, especially given what they did yesterday. They officially rebuked him yesterday because of his appointments to the St. Louis County Police Board. Remember, he appointed the two people. Council says, whoa, you went against county law. You can't do that without our approval. He says, the charter allows me to do that. But there's this legal issue, they're saying, with the way he went about it. Like, for example, it says appointees must undergo a background check before they can serve on the board. That didn't happen with these two people that Page appointed.
Right.
They also have to file an appointment certificate with the county clerk. That didn't happen. It says the board also requires, and I didn't know this, it requires its members to state their political party. Now, both of the new appointees, they're members of the Independent Party. Well, Missouri law doesn't recognize the Independents as an official political party, so technically they wouldn't be qualified to serve.
I wonder when they switched their registration to independent.
Guess who was the sole vote in support of Page?
Lisa Clancy.
Yep. Ding,
oh,
ding,
ding. We have a winner, ladies and gentlemen. That's fun. They're changing the rules for deer hunting this year for my friends out there who are looking forward to hunting season, which will be coming up in September, the early season. Part of the early season is. So several regulation changes this fall, including a reduced buck limit for non-residents, an earlier youth season. So finally what they've done here, Kim, youth season, the early youth season, used to fall on Halloween all the time, which really messed up young hunters who wanted to both hunt and do Halloween. Mm-hmm. So now they've moved it back another week. So it's like 3 weeks before the regular hunting season instead of what was like a week or two, however that works out. So if you're going for the youth hunt, check the dates because they have now moved that.
I feel for all the ladies whose husbands will be requesting to go deer hunting many times.
Yes, indeed.
Honey, I only got a doe. I need a buck. I have to go back again.
I'm going back to the woods. Leave me alone.
I have to do rifle season. I have to do bow season. I need to do them all. And then I need to do pheasant season in February or January,
you
whatever
sound like
it
a
is.
hunting widow, Kim.
I'm a proud hunting wife.
Okay, there you go. Not a hunting
that's okay.
widow.
You know what? We
I'm
get deer
talking about.
sticks out of it. And I
There
do
you go.
love a good deer stick.
There you go.
Cell phone bans
Going there.
already in effect in Missouri in classrooms, and now Illinois is trying to roll out the same thing. There was this bill that was just signed last month by Governor Pritzker. And what it does, it's a little different than what Missouri did, because Missouri just said, nope, you can't have your cell phone with you in class. But Illinois is saying that the actual individual school districts must come up with their own cell phone policy, and they have to have it in place before the start of the 2027-2028 school year. So they've got basically this school year to figure things out, and then it has to be in full effect.
Okay.
But what's confusing is it sounds like it's going to be district to district. Some districts will say you can have it here, but not there. And then other districts will say, oh, no, you can't have it at all, actually. I don't know.
I don't. I think it's a good question. I would have preferred a more thorough policy or statewide policy, something like that.
Yeah. But I think this is pretty cool. Also, maybe a little weird. Walmart is eyeing drone delivery for St. Charles City and Maplewood. They're in talks. Nothing is official. But they're basically this company that operates them for Walmart. It's called Whim. They do the drones. They're saying that the deliveries can be made in a driveway, front yard, or side yard, that the drones typically fly around 150 feet up, and they can carry up to 5 pounds. But they're really wanting buy-in from the community before the program would take off. No pun intended.
What's the advantage of it? I mean, the drone
is it
can only
faster?
the drone can only deliver one item at a time, so you've got the flight time for it to go there and come back.
Yeah, but you don't have to hire a driver. I mean,
would
you have to have a drone
recharge it.
operator, but you don't have to have someone filling up their gas tank and taking one of the company cars or their own car and then trying to get there. You can think about how many delivery. You could have one person fly it there, fly it back, and then immediately start doing the other one, not having to deal with traffic. You don't have the insurance issue. I mean, there's all kinds of issues you'd have to deal with when you have someone out there driving.
I will say the other day I needed something in a hurry. I go on Amazon. They had it to me 4 hours later.
It's kind of scary.
It's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't use a drone. They used a truck.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Last one. This one's just dumbfounding to me. PETA's offering $5,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction on someone who abandoned 4 guinea pigs in one of those plastic exercise balls in O'Fallon, Missouri. 3 of the 4 died. The other one's recovering. But they basically think they baked to death because the day they were dumped, the temperatures exceeded 95 degrees.
Oh, that's awful.
That's like one of those, almost like a magnifying glass when you have it in that clear little ball.
It's just cruel. I mean, they've got their thing. They could have donated that $5,000 to the homeless or something.
To missing children. I'm sorry. It's sad about the guinea pigs. Do not get me started on this. PETA, you're ridiculous. That money could be better spent.
Yeah. All right. Coming up, we will talk to Nicole Murray, get you a check of business for you, and we'll talk more about the loss of the ZZ Top drummer at about 45. Well, you know what? I've got my camper in my driveway right now because we're going to take a little trip, and I love my camper that we got at Apache Village up in O'Fallon. That's their newest location. They're still in Hazelwood. Apache Village has been around for 50 years now, owned by the same family, and you can get the same great service at whichever location you go to. We ended up at Apache Village in O'Fallon because it's closer to our house now. And we found just the camper we wanted, pre-owned, and got a great deal on it, great service all along, and I loved working with them so far, and I think you will too. Regardless of what you're looking for, hundreds of campers on the lot right now. It's like going to the RV show. You can walk through and window shop and figure out just exactly which one works for your situation. They're right there at Highway K and 70 on the South Outer Road. Be sure and tell them Marc Cox sent you. Go to avrv.com.
Wet roads this morning, so just take it easy out there. There were a couple of incidents along northbound 55. There's a slowdown at 141 in the construction zone, and we still have a slow go from about Butler Hill through 270. There was an accident in there on the right-hand side causing that delay. Northbound 270, a little bit slow north of 55 and then again at Gravois. But that's it. Other than that, we're quiet, at least on the Missouri side. Now, on the Illinois side, we've got a slow-moving train, Route 3 at Monsanto Avenue. That has caused a delay. And the road work and the closure of westbound 64, 255 to 18th Street has caused a jam back past 157. And other than that, we're fine. If you're headed in on the bridges downtown, things look great. This report brought to you by i3 Broadband. Summer celebrations are here, and i3 Broadband keeps you connected. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 866-806-5485 to upgrade today. because life runs better on fiber, and i3 Broadband is here for you. Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, I'm fortunate enough to have a vehicle for pleasure that I can drive on the weekends, and I got it out and washed it and waxed it the other day. It's in great shape right now. And man, am I glad that my garage door is protecting it from all this rain this morning, because that is always my curse. As soon as you wash a car, it rains, right? So mine's parked inside. It's protected. And I thank the folks at Overhead Door Company for fixing my garage door, because the spring broke, and that was my first phone call. 314-781-5200. The original Overhead Door Company, been around 100 years. They came over. He had that thing fixed in less than an hour. And those springs are big and heavy, and it's not anything you want to mess around with. So if you have a problem with the door, there's your answer. They'll get there the same day and give you same-day service 7 days a week. Plus, if you check their website right now, they're offering a $500 rebate when you purchase a new garage door. So check out their collection and find out more details at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. And the debate rages on the online comments this morning for our social media feed. Of course, we have the text line as well, 314-241-9797. A lot of people are talking about the music that has disappeared from our online feeds this morning. And we've tried to talk about it each hour. It's complicated. People are saying, why don't you find some good local artists, like, I don't know, Richie's former band, Seventh of Never, something like that. You could play that music in the bumps and the interwebs wouldn't recognize it. And it's just a technical impossibility for us to have a separate music library that plays only on social media and not else. I just don't know how I do that. And I don't know if there's somebody here on the technical end who has a different answer, but I kind of doubt that, because we've been struggling with this for months now, maybe longer than that, and we've tried to figure out a solution. And at the end of the day, they want money out of us. And we're already paying fees to licensed music here on the radio station that goes out over the air. Now they want to hit us again for anything that goes out over social media. So it's just complicated. And I wish I had a better solution for you. In the meantime, You will not be hearing music if you're listening on X or YouTube or Rumble or Facebook before, into, and out of segments. There's just nothing we can do about that, and I apologize. I will try to do something about the awful elevator music that we are using.
Let me switch it up. I have about
Okay.
8 options, and I feel like you all have had strong feelings about a few of them. So maybe I'll go back to the rock. I was trying. That's the one I feel like that fits the show the most. But I was trying to switch things up. But you all do not like.
But if
some
I
of the
gave
other
you
ones.
if I gave you a different playlist, you could use it.
Oh, I don't know.
Ethan's shaking his head.
I don't know. This is
Okay.
complicated.
All
Trust
right,
me,
it's
I'm just trying to
complicated.
make sure I click all the buttons.
It's not us. It's not you. It's us. Is that how you'd handle it if you were breaking up with somebody? It's not you. It's me. There's nothing we can. There's nothing we can do about
But
it.
really, it's not me. It's you.
That's it. All right, let's get to Nicole, please. Nicole Murray doesn't have problems like that. Being the big network star she is, how are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. We're having music issues here.
I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe you could sing for them.
Somebody
Oh.
suggested that.
You don't want that, Nicole.
Nobody wants to hear that.
We could have Mark play guitar.
I could do
And
that.
that will finally come around.
I
Do
could do
you
that.
like hot cross buns, Nicole?
But the repertoire is so limited to Smoke on the Water or something like that it would get really old. Maybe we could have Richie play guitar because one of our regular morning listeners is a outstanding musician and has his own band. I wish we could figure that out, but we haven't figured out how to do that. So.
What's also ironic about this, Nicole, is that Mark's daughter is a super talented singer. She sings opera. She's going to school for it. So, Mark, let's try opera.
Yeah, but again, that would get old after a while too. Like you want a little bit of very
No, of course
music,
you do.
right? So I don't know. I mean, her music never gets old to me. It might get old to them if she's singing an
if
Italian
she sings
opera.
well.
Yeah. We just can't figure it out. It's a technical issue.
She could sing a Sammy Hagar song, but sing it in opera.
Oh, that would not go over well. No,
I don't know if that would work. Like covers, I'm not even sure will work.
Yeah, I don't know the copyright stuff.
Right.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
It's a mess. What's going on out there?
All right, futures are currently mixed. Tuesday, the Dow Industrials lost 116, the Nasdaq down 355, the S&P 500 down 53. A representative for drone delivery company Whim faced skeptical residents yesterday as the firm seeks to launch its delivery service with Walmart in the St. Louis area. Members of the Maplewood City Council and the public raised concerns about noise, impacts on birds, data privacy, hackers, property damage, and more. The plan has not yet been advanced or voted upon. Movie theater workers at St. Louis Alamo Draft House are poised to vote to unionize, citing complaints of cut hours, fewer tips, and lack of respect from management. Alamo Draft House, headquartered in Austin, Texas, serves drinks and food to customers at their theater seats during movies. Target has posted quarterly earnings that were boosted by tariff refunds and raised its full-year guidance as the retailer shows more signs its turnaround is taking hold. The company said net sales climbed 5.3% from the year prior. Target stock is up more than 55% this year. Lowe's reported mixed results as the retailer said it continued to see pressure in home improvement spending. The company updated its full-year guidance to the low end of its previously provided range. Lowe's also said tariff refunds provided an 11-cent boost to its earnings per share. Dreyer's Grand Ice Cream reports that 5 flavors of Outshine fruit bars have been recalled because they may contain glass. The recalled products, which were sold nationwide, are the 2.5-ounce strawberry, watermelon, grape, tangerine, and black cherry flavors, packaged in 6-count boxes. And finally, we've talked about how dogs can sense when you're stressed, but that may mean not all that they can detect. The Daily Mail reports that dogs can tell when humans are happy or sad from facial expressions.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Well, but if you have a serious, I mean, like we're talking like full blown, you're crying, and they're like, I can tell you're sad, or like a little, frown, and they can pick up on that.
I mean, I've personally experienced it where I'll just be kind of sulking on the couch, and Carolina will come over, nuzzle against me, bring me one of her toys to cheer me up. So I believe this wholeheartedly.
I think there's something to that because my Golden responds to my facial expressions.
Really?
If she like somehow that dog as unintelligent generally as she is,
she's a
I love
smart
her.
girl.
She's a smooth brain, but at about between 4:30 and 5, she knows it's almost dinner time, and she will come over and she'll lay her head on my leg and she'll look at me.
Aw.
And if I raise my eyebrows sharply, she'll stand up and she'll start to back up toward the kitchen because she thinks she's got my attention. So I do know that they watch facial expression, so I guess I could buy that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people underestimate dogs and what they can understand, what they, notice around in their environment.
They know when it's food time. That's what they understand.
Or walk
speaking.
time.
Or walk time, yeah.
Or when I'm going to leave the house. My dog knows that when I put on shoes, she thinks it's walk time. And so sometimes she also gets stressed out when I pack the suitcase as well.
Ours too.
Yeah.
Sad.
If she
heart.
hasn't heard go bye-bye, if she hasn't heard those words, she'll sulk, go in the corner and wait.
That's so sad.
I know.
The baby.
You're just babies. That's it. All right, Nicole, thank you.
Thanks so much, you guys.
Have a great week. We'll talk to you Friday.
Do
Appreciate
baby
that.
talk Summers?
I don't as much as my wife and my daughter do, certainly. My daughter FaceTimed me yesterday from college, primarily to see the dog.
How's it going, by the way? Is she liking her classes?
Yeah, and she was complaining that some of her classes are at 8:30 in the morning, and I'm like, don't you get to pick your schedule? And she goes, you had limited choices, and apparently in her major for these classes. So.
What time did her high school start?
Earlier. But
she should be
she's
used
now
to it.
so spoiled after being at college for a
Right.
week that she doesn't like having to get up and be somewhere at 8:30 in the morning.
Well, 8:30 will feel good when she has to show up for work at 7:30 maybe.
This is true. I would point that out to her, but she's also still in that mode where she's wanting to look good when she goes to class.
Yeah,
And
that will end probably.
By the end of the semester, she'll be wearing sweatpants and a hat.
Yeah.
So that'll get easier.
My sister we had classes together, and she used to say, "Did you even brush your hair this morning?" But we had an 8 a.m. and as I told you the other day, biological anthropology class. No, ain't nobody got time for that.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd schedule them later in the day if I could.
By the way, Lisa on Facebook saying, "How does glass get into your fruit pop?" You guys were asking the same when Nicole read that. You guys were like,
I bought those. What was the brand again?
Outshine.
I know I purchased those before for over the years, not lately, but that's weird.
Yeah,
but at least they recognized it at some point.
Something falls in.
after someone
or
got
something.
cut.
Ooh, probably. Well, they're not going to announce that.
Oh God.
I don't know. Just for those of you following along this morning, you're getting a little bit of grief here on the text line. People are insane if they're actually truthfully complaining about the music. I'm just having fun with it. So thank you very much for. I do apologize for it though, because when I started this show in 2010, part of my thing was playing music I loved. In and out of bumps and all that stuff, the actual music with the people singing on it. And that has morphed over the years to, well, you got to limit this, you got to limit that because we're streaming now and you can't play this if we're doing this. And finally, we've reached a point where from a money perspective, you don't want to have to pay both. I mean, we're already paying licensing fees. We had to cut it off somewhere. So this is why this change has happened. Maybe, and I'm kind of encouraged here for those of you that follow us on the radio and on the app, I can start going back to playing more actual music and not those little snippets that don't actually include an artist's voice, because we do pay licensing fees for that stuff. And I'll have to talk to Tricia about why I can't start doing that again.
Let me just offer some perspective here. Yes,
Yes.
I get it's annoying. You don't want to listen to the elevator music, and some of you have had strong feelings about what I've picked. But I only have about 8 options, so let me just tell you that. But wouldn't you rather, in this case, Mark, you be told, hey, you have to play this music or you can't play that music versus being told what you can and cannot say?
Well, this is true.
You've
It's just
never
a
been
music
told what
issue.
you can and cannot say,
Never. Not
despite
once.
people trying to claim that. It's a lie. I've never been told what I can and cannot say. So.
Yep.
Just remember that.
Thank you. And Richie had a good point. It's going to take more than crappy bump music to drive me away from the Mark Cox Morning Show.
Thank you.
Richie, thank you. If I had my choice, I'd play Seventh of Never every morning.
So you're saying that Sammy Hagar is you calling that music?
Can we go to a break now? My musical taste has just been insulted. We will get to In Other News coming up, and there's some musical news in that one, too.
Good morning, wet roadways. So give yourself just a couple of extra minutes. Northbound 55 is slowing at 270. It's also slow ramping on to northbound 270. Then moderate volume in pockets from there up through Manchester. Southbound 61, a slow go at 64 and 70. And eastbound 70 looks pretty good. There was some moderate volume right at 141. On the Illinois side, northbound Route 3 especially slow at Monsanto Avenue, a slow-moving train there. And 64 westbound slows at 157. This report brought to you by McKelvey Homes. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Let's talk about your credit card debt for a minute. Everybody over the years has probably put more on a credit card than they wanted to. Where it gets to be a problem is when that debt gets to $20,000, $30,000 or more, and then you realize you're paying 30% interest, and you're paying $600, $700 a month just in interest, just to keep up, and you're not even hitting the principal. I mean, that's a lifelong problem. That could take 15 or 20 years to pay off. Don't put yourself in that situation. My friends at Golden Oak Lending are ready to help you. You use a little bit of equity out of your house. You pay off those high interest rate credit cards. You consolidate all of it into one manageable monthly payment with some of the equity you have, and you get room in that monthly budget. Think about that. If their average customer is saving $1,100 a month, that's money they're not shipping out to a credit card company. They can put in a child savings account or a college account or a savings account for that matter, and then you get to decide what to do with your money. Reach out to them today at 314-567-GOLD. You've heard my friend James Hawkins in here the other day talking about this. They're helping people with this every day, and they'll give you a free mortgage checkup when you call them. 314-567-GOLD. Go to goldenoaklending.com. Their NMLS number is 114937. Well, you recognize that. Of course, that is Shark Dress Man by ZZ Top. And we have the sad news this morning that their drummer, Frank Beard, has died at age 77. And I will take no more grief about going to see these old white guy bands that my wife gives me grief about because of this. This guy, at any time, these guys could drop off the face of the planet like this. I've seen ZZ Top many times out here at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Fantastic band. Now 2 of the 3 of them are gone. One of the guitar players, Billy Gibbons, is the only one still alive. They've lost 2 of their band members now. So very sad. I didn't see a cause of death. He had been on tour recently and had been in that band for the better part of 60 years. So sad news today that Frank Beard has died at 77 years old.
That's young.
Yes.
But if you're worried about that, of people dying, then I guess you have a lot of bands you better go see.
Well, thank you.
You need to increase the budget for next year.
Thank you. Michelle, are you listening? I hope my wife is listening right now. The
All right.
concert budget just went up.
Doubled, tripled.
Yes.
USA Today came out with its top 25 party schools. In Illinois, you proudly made the list. Number 18.
Woo! Where was Mizzou? And was Mizzou on there
no,
anywhere?
didn't see Mizzou on there, which I was a little bit surprised about. But Tulane was the number 1 party school.
Really?
I know. Number 2, Alabama.
I'm not surprised at that one at
No,
all.
I'm not
my
surprised.
2 nephews went to school there.
Miami of Ohio came in at number 11. You have Ole Miss, Penn State. These are just some of like the top.
Used to be Arizona
How
State,
do they determine
Colorado.
that?
I don't know.
How
I
do
think
they
that's
determine
just so
that?
stupid. I just don't. They even gave them a party score. Like, for example, Georgia's number 4. They received a party score of 7.3.
Who votes?
I don't even know.
Okay.
Here's what's annoying about this. There's not even any sort of a description on what was the criteria. Is it like the number of drunk people? Is it like how packed the bars get?
Yes.
How many people show up to the football games? I'd like to know how they decided this.
I know. I don't get it either. But all right. Well, this probably affects me, and this is not good news. Most Americans. This is a headline today in USA Today. Most Americans drink at least 1 soda a day.
Wow.
It's associated with this type of cancer, is the headline. Cracking open 1 can of soda each day, according to this research in this journal of Mass General Brigham Center Cancer Institute, found that consuming at least 1 sugar-sweetened beverage a day is associated with twice the risk of gastric cancer compared to rarely consuming soda. The findings were based on decades of data from more than 100,000 people. So they're warning people, if you can avoid drinking, I guess, a Coke or a Diet Coke or whatever. There's all kinds of issues with what's in Diet Coke and all that stuff anyway. And instead have even juice, even energy drinks with juice and sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Added sugar were included in that.
The juices people get, we never buy juice. We pretty much always have water. And you talk about those coffee drinks that have so much sugar, probably whatever the typical amount is in a soda, it's probably what a lot of the coffee drinks have that you're getting every morning and paying $10 for.
Just finding this out now, I'm toast anyway, so it's probably
always
too
something.
late. Yeah.
I know.
Living is fatal.
Ferrari's first electric car apparently just sold for $40 million at some auction on Saturday night. The pre-sale estimate was $1.1 million. So that's more than 36 times the estimate.
Just
it's
because
the very first one?
I guess so. And they're saying every dollar of it's going to charity, by the way.
Oh, that's cool.
But what will it, like, then you could go out and buy one here eventually?
Yeah, but to have the first one.
I guess so.
It's the bragging rights of, I had the very first one.
Can you imagine? I mean, that's just torque. It's just torque.
Stupid money. Yeah,
wonder how fast it burns through that
I'd love
battery,
to know
though.
how fast it flies, how fast it kills the battery, too.
Yeah.
Enjoy your tax
Interesting
break
to
since
know.
it's going to charity.
Yeah. I guess so. I think Trump did away with that, didn't he?
I don't
You
know.
can't get a tax break for an EV anymore, I don't think. All right. Coming up, we're going to, in the next hour, we'll talk to Derrick Morgan, Executive VP over at Heritage. Lots of stuff going on with those primaries around the country last night. We'll get you updated after the top of the hour.
Democrats in Florida are the latest to take a left turn. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, picking a progressive to take on Republican Senator Ashley Moody.
Another Democratic socialist made headway.
What do we do?
Angie Nixon in a come-from-behind win for the Democratic Senate nomination in Florida.
As Fox's Doug Luzitter, Nixon was outspent 16-1 and trailed in the polls, but defeated Alex Vindman by 12 points. And he had the backing of prominent Democrats. Two other Democratic socialists lost, however, in Florida, challenging two members of Congress. But Jared Moskowitz won, so did Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
And we're going to make sure we fight those damn Republicans.
She defeated several others in a redrawn district, but Republican Congressman Corey Mills was primaried out. Ryan Elijah defeated Mills, who's under a House ethics investigation. He becomes the 11th member of Congress to lose a primary this year. Another House Republican won his primary, trying to become Florida's next governor, Byron Donalds.
Let's go beat David Jolly in November.
Jolly used to be a Republican in Congress. Now he's a Trump critic who won the Democratic primary for governor.
The renewal of a hope. The belief in each other once again. The belief in something better. That we are better in this moment than where our leaders are dragging us.
In Alaska, a primary for one of the 6 Senate seats considered toss-ups in November in the Fox News Power Rankings. Republican Senator Dan Sullivan finished second, behind Democrat Mary Peltola. Both advanced in November, along with 2 others in a ranked choice voting contest. As the U.S. and Iran remain in a standoff over Strait of Hormuz shipping, Iran reportedly ready to expand the conflict if President Trump resumes bombing.
The FT reports Iranian forces have assessed possible strikes on U.S.-linked locations in southeastern Europe. That could include Besmer Air Base in Bulgaria, recently approved by the government there for use by American refueling aircraft.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. America's listening to Fox News.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil. One simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to Metamucil.com for more details.
Ice Cube's Big 3 season has come down to this. The Big 3 Championship is coming to Charlotte. Who will be crowned the Big 3 Season 9 champion? Plus the Big 3 All-Star Game. The biggest names in the game, all on one court, one more time. 2 games of the most physical, competitive, and non-stop 3-on-3 action. The game played the way you love. Watch live Saturday on CBS at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and catch replays Monday on BET. Yay, yay!
Good morning. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. We did have some storms moving through the area, so just be mindful of that possible flooding on some of those roads that typically flood. 73 degrees our temperature right now. It is 7:03. Here's what's making headlines across St. Louis on this Wednesday, August 19th. A St. Charles County man is pushing for the library to ban the Bible because it depicts acts of violence. Brian Rorta points to the verse in Matthew that says any follower of Jesus who causes another believer to stumble, it would be better to have a large millstone hung around their neck and be drowned in the depths of the sea. Rorta says he's challenging the Bible as part of a protest against a recent St. Charles City County Library Board decision to ban LGBTQ pride flags. The board was set to review his request at last night's meeting. Walmart drone delivery could soon be coming to St. Charles City and Maplewood. Whim, which is the company that operates these drones for Walmart, says the drones fly about 150 feet up in the air and they can carry up to 5 pounds. Now, keep in mind, nothing is finalized in either St. Charles City or Maplewood, just talking about it right now. And so for that reason, there's no word yet on a possible launch date. Security upgrades have been finished at all 38 Metrolink stations here in the St. Louis area. The upgrades also include a new ticket vending machine where riders can purchase individual tickets. The new gates will also only allow paying customers to get through. That's key. Metro says it's also added more than 1,000 security cameras near the stations and platforms. In sports, hey, a great game for the Cards. They shut out the Reds yesterday. Final score 3-0. Playing again today at 5:40. And City SC plays Sporting KC tonight at 7 o'clock. All right, coming up 5 minutes after the hour, 73 degrees. Thanks for starting off your Wednesday with us. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Wet roadways this morning, so take it easy on your commute. Northbound 55, some moderate volume headed for 270. Northbound 270, pockets of moderate volume 55 up through Manchester. Southbound 61, slowing at 64. Then things open up into downtown. Eastbound 70, some moderate volume at 141, and then it opens up. Quiet through North County. And a parking lot jam westbound 64 on the Illinois side, approaching 157 to approaching 255. Of course, we've got the closure of westbound 64 between 255 and 18th Street through Monday. Even some volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Six minutes after the hour here on this Wednesday morning, and we're at 73 degrees at the Arch. As a reminder, you can take the Marc Cox Morning Show with you wherever you go. Someone was listening from Australia, I think is where it was. That's pretty cool. But you can listen anytime. You'll find it on the free Odyssey app.
Hey, good morning. We're back in there doing the hard work of a show host. The show prep never ends. And Ethan just had to open the door and scream for me, Mark, your show's starting.
And by show prep, do you mean eating pretzels out of Trisha's office?
No. I was in there preparing a segment for this hour on the Secretary of State in this battle over initiative petition reform that is going to work its way through the courts in Cole County today. So, no, that's exactly what I was working on. In fact, I just went to the printer to pick this up as I was running in here. You never run to a microphone. I made the mistake of doing that a few minutes ago. This is the Kansas City Star. You want to talk about bias in media? Let me read you the headline from the Kansas City Star this morning on this issue. This is the headline in the Kansas City Star. Will Missouri voters be able to protect direct democracy? A judge to decide. We don't have direct democracy. We're a representative republic. That's what irritates me so much about this whole argument over Amendment 4. We can get into that again. I'm truly hopeful we have another chance to revise that at some point. But if this amendment passes, if they get this on the ballot, this is what the left does. If they get this through and enough numbskulls vote for it, this gets put in the Constitution. Guess what? You'll never be able to impact initiative petition again. And the left is the only side that uses it. So everything they do, you can assume, is coming from a position of something you disagree with, something evil in many cases, if it's abortion and things like that. So I'm just telling you that citizen-driven initiative petitions are what the left uses in this state, which is why I was so in favor of Amendment 4 to begin with, and that's kind of what I was in there preparing to talk about a little later in this segment, probably at the bottom of the hour. We'll get into that a little more because Denny Hoskins, who we had on the show a little over a week ago, is fighting this. In fact, he appeared yesterday in a video, Kim, on the steps of the Capitol building with a baseball bat over his shoulder, saying he just hit another one out of the park because he got yet another victory in court where he's consistently being challenged by this Chuck Hatfield out of Cole County, one of the big liberal politicians, or I shouldn't say politicians, one of the big liberal lawyers in the state who's always down there filing lawsuits on behalf of the left and Democrats. And that's kind of what happened yesterday. So we will get to more on that here at the bottom of the hour. Lots of rain out there this morning. Be warned about that. Sue's going to have the latest on your traffic coming up here in just a couple of minutes. And it is it's been a mess. And it's going to be a mess probably until the end of our show, at least this morning. I'll just warn you about that. So we'll get to that for you. We've also got Derrick Morgan coming up. And next hour, we're going to talk to Norbert Heuser, and I'm sure you don't recognize that name, but he's a life coach, he's a health coach, he's an inventor, and he's talking about whether or not, and we've heard this debate over the years, Wi-Fi and cell phone signals quietly affect your health.
And something happened to, I guess, his grandson that made him start looking into this whole situation. He kind of did a deep dive on it because, and I just talked about this for Kim on a whim, there were already concerns with 4G. Now we have 5G. People were worried about the towers and the impact on health and that having a tie potentially to cancer rates. And then now you have 6G that's rolling out in 2030. And people are understandably a little bit worried about what that will mean for them.
Yeah, I get that. I've said this before. My first cell phone, you'll laugh at this, was a bag phone. The first cell phone I could ever afford to buy for myself came in a bag, and it had a full-size phone handle on it, and it's set in a cradle, basically, and it was probably 3 watts. I mean, this thing was powerful, and if the whatever that sent out didn't fry my brain back then, it even had an antenna you had to stick up when you were using it. But it worked. Mm-hmm. It was just much more powerful than today's phones. And I'm thinking, well, if I survive that, what is the risk? So I'm anxious to talk to this guy just to hear what he has uncovered here. We'll get to him at about 8:20 this morning, so stay tuned for that. Right now, Ethan, let's hit some of those top stories, please. Wait a minute. That was my turn. Hang on just a minute here. I got you.
The petition would require ballot summaries to be clear and unbiased, preserve the citizen petition process, and make it harder for politicians to change or undo voter-approved measures.
Yep, that's part of the coverage of what Denny Hoskins has questioned, because it has so many different parts that he said it violates the single subject policy, and therefore it's unconstitutional. That is what a judge will decide in Cole County before the end of the week, probably.
This is a contrast election, a contrast between common sense, represented by a guy like Tom Barrett, and crazy. And that's what his opponent represents. Those policies are crazy. It would be terrible for Michigan, terrible for America, and that's why we're very confident.
Yeah, that was Mike Johnson, as you can hear. He's one of the ones sort of leading the argument here against electing any more of these DSA candidates. And guess what? One had a shocking upset win in Florida, almost guaranteeing one Republican seat down there as a result of it.
People say his ability to go viral is what is making him stand out as this candidate for the party, that they want someone that can sort of rise above the rest and make noise.
Yeah, they need somebody who's going to make noise. The people that are getting elected yesterday are not the answer on John Ossoff. I can tell you that. He's the guy out of Georgia.
How is it possible, with living in the day and age of artificial intelligence and information age, how is it possible that somebody can get 13 different medications that are as strong and powerful as the ones that we're talking about in this case?
Yeah, Sean Hannity with a good question last night on this Lindsay Clancy story that we've been covering. Kim, she's the mother accused of murdering her 3 children and apparently trying to take her own life while battling postpartum depression. That's the argument the defense is using here. It's raised a lot of eyebrows. And they asked Dr. Drew about this yesterday on Hannity's show. And his question was, they found out this woman's medication list. Many of the medicines she was on don't interact well with the others. His question was, in today's medical environment, with everything that's online and these health charts and everything, like if you're with BJC or SSM or whatever it happens to be, your doctor can pull up your entire list of medicines and look at them. They should be able to.
That was the exact question I had asked when I initially talked about this, was how was that not known? Because, well, first of all, you're asked usually, what other medications are you taking? And I understand you can easily lie about that on some medical form. But don't you think that she would have wanted to list those because she'd want to make sure that they weren't having some weird reaction with any new medication she was prescribed?
Or did she doctor shop, or what was going on? I don't know. Here was the doctor's answer to Sean Hannity's question. Listen.
I get what you're saying, and I'm sympathetic to that point of view. But the reality is it's difficult to get information from one treatment environment to another. Electronic medical records sometimes don't talk to each other. Physicians don't talk to the previous prescriber. The patient distorts or maybe lied about what she was taking. There's a lot of addictive medicines in there. Maybe there's a role of addiction in all this. And so it becomes chaotic and problematic when there is not a primary care person who watches the individual from top to bottom, and we have eviscerated primary care in this country.
I don't have a primary care physician. There is one person I went to try to set that up, but if I'm sick, because I'm not sick very often, I go to urgent care. It's just way easier.
That's part of the problem, but it's also not the answer, because my mother will go to the same doctor she's been seeing for 5 or 6 years, and we'll go in and sit down in an appointment, and they will look at her and say, are you on any, what medications are you on? And every time my answer to them is, whatever you prescribed her.
Mm-hmm.
Look in your chart. Why are you asking me?
Yeah.
And I guess ultimately what they're asking is, has another doctor prescribed something we don't know about? That would be a better way of asking that question. That's not the way they ask it.
Well, they're
So-
probably not
so-
taking the time to look it up because they truly don't know. They ask the same questions
Right.
over and over
Well-
again. And again, I get you have to update information and things like that. But when my son had to get stitches the other day, I went to a Mercy Urgent Care. I said, hey, they said, oh, we can't help you. Go to this one. It was within the same network, Mercy. And I said, can you please call them first and make sure that they can handle this? And they said, we don't have their number. We have no way of talking to them. You're in the same network and you can't, there's no number. There's not a single person that you can get a hold of over there. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Coming up, we're going to talk to Derrick Morgan because remember all this argument over President Trump trying to block commercial driver's license? 21 states are suing him over. Can you imagine what color those states are on the electoral map? We're going to talk to Derrick when we come back.
Wet roadways this morning, so take it easy. We've got some volume already on northbound 55, especially at 270. Just moderate, but a slow go. And then slow pockets on 270 northbound between 55 and Manchester. But again, not a solid jam. Eastbound 70, slowing at 141, and then it opens up. 64 is in pretty good shape. It's slowing at 170. And westbound is moderate volume, Clayton Skinker through 170. We've got volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge and also on the Illinois side, 64 westbound, just a parking lot headed for 157. That, of course, directly due to road work. This report brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door, barronmirror.com. We'd like to congratulate them. It's their 50-year anniversary, and you don't stay in business that long by not having a great staff and quality products with outstanding service. Contact Barron Mirror Glass and Door today and let them show you why 50 years is just a beginning. I'm Sue Thomas with Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, Rhino Shield is protecting a whole lot of homes this morning. How do I know that? Because I had it on my house, and it's 100% waterproof. What's going on outside? It's pouring rain. Have you looked out the window? If you've got Rhino Shield on the outside of your home, on your brick, your stucco, your masonite siding, your cement board, whatever it happens to be, guess what? The rain is not impacting it. It is 100% waterproof. It's like putting a raincoat over your house. It really is. And what does that mean? It protects the finish. The finish doesn't fade. It's not affected by the sun's rays hardly at all. My home looked as good 17 and a half years after I had Rhino Shield put on as the day it was applied, and I was able to pass on the remainder of that warranty to a new owner. And that's great, right? So reach out to them and get your free evaluation. You're going to love this product. It is beautifully durable. Same bright, vivid colors you get with the regular old thin paint, but this is 8 to 10 times thicker. And wow, what a difference that makes. Call Darren today. Tell him you heard Marc bragging about his Rhino Shield on his house. Go to 877-25rhino.com or just call him at 877-25-RHINO.
The time now is 7:22, and this time check is brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Wow, another huge upset in those primaries yesterday. Get this, in the Florida race with this Vindman character who was running, he was endorsed by all the big Democrats. They spent $16 million in the Democrat primary in Florida to get this guy into the top spot in the primary, and he got defeated by a DSA candidate who spent less than $1 million. It's a huge boost to these socialists, but you gotta think there are tremors going through the Democrat Party this morning. Let me get to our guest, Derrick Morgan. He's executive vice president there with the Heritage Foundation. Great to have you back, Derrick. How are you?
Good morning, Mark. I'm doing great.
Yes, sir. What a shocker in Florida there for Vindman, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Being outspent and the entire establishment behind him, and then to get defeated pretty soundly, around 55 to 45. By Angie Nixon, who's a confirmed member of the Democratic Socialists of America. It is shocking. It's a statewide nomination, and this is in a state of Florida that I don't think is going to play too well with the Democratic Socialists of America.
No, not at all. And this was Alexander Vindman, wasn't it? Is he the one that I'm talking about here?
Yep. Yeah.
I know he's got a brother who ran too somewhere.
Yeah, this one's Alex Vindman. He's the one who testified against Trump in the impeachment. Yep.
Right, and now the Democrats were desperate to his opponent. Man, I listened to the Republican candidate down there, the current U.S. senator who was appointed to replace Marco Rubio, and she was just tearing into this lady already. I mean, she wants open borders. She wants to do away with prisons. I mean, she's as wacky left as possible. I can't imagine. This is even going to be a race in red Florida, right?
I mean, that's definitely what I'm thinking at this point. And, layered into that is the fact that the DSA just last week praised Fidel Castro on his 100th birthday.
Oh, yeah.
And they denounced Marco Rubio as genocidal. And Marco Rubio, of course, was a very popular senator down there. And here you have someone who's a verified member of the DSA. So it's not lining up too well for the Democrats in Florida in that way.
These establishment Democrats have tried to separate themselves from the DSA agenda, saying we don't support that. And, if they are who you support, then we're not going to be part of it, yada, yada, yada. But I'm starting to wonder, do you really feel that way? Or are you saying that publicly because you kind of want to separate yourself from that, thinking it's not popular enough, but that secretly they do support that agenda, that if these guys are elected, they're going to start shifting that direction?
That's kind of where my head's at as well. If you look at Wisconsin, we had that weird poll, non-poll, apparently was completely fabricated, saying that Hong was way ahead, who was the farthest left candidate. But the person who replaced her on the ballot is no moderate Democrat either. There's not all that much difference between the two. So I think in part it's sort of the vibe, right? Are you a DSA? Do you have Che Guevara posters and T-shirts, or do you have a moderate masking? That seems to be more the difference at this point.
It really does. Derrick Morgan with us from the Heritage Foundation. Can we trust polling anymore? I mean, honestly, after that case with Hong, and I remember back to the last presidential election when there was some poll that stood out, all the media jumped all over it that somehow Kamala Harris was up in Iowa. And then she just got trounced. And this morning, there's a poll showing the Democrat candidate for governor in Iowa right now has an 8 or 9 point lead over the Republican. And they haven't had a Democrat governor there since 2006 or something like that. I mean, I just wonder. I haven't had a call from a pollster in years. Who are they polling?
Some of these outfits are fly-by-night for sure. This one in Wisconsin, apparently, they're now saying it was an op. It was kind of, they set it up to see if they could influence the vote. They never even polled anybody. But I think this is more what we're going to see in the age of AI, where it's quite plausible to put something forward that on the surface looks legitimate, everything from polling to deep fakes. And it's really incumbent on each of us to make sure that we're following reputable people that we trust regarding polling and AI and everything else in this environment.
Yeah. I was driving down to Arkansas the other day, and I'm on the highway, and I'm guilty of this. I'm going to admit it. Every time I would pass a truck driver with an out-of-state plate, I wondered where they got their commercial driver's license. Trump administration's tried to crack down on this, and they're being challenged by all the blue states, right?
They are. It's amazing. And this is something the DOT has had access to this database for a while, but they want to find unqualified truck drivers, including illegal immigrants. And they're saying, if you don't share this data with us for us to look into this, and we're going to withhold some funding. Now you have 21 Democrat-leaning states that are suing on it, and D.C., and that includes some in the middle of the country, certainly Michigan and Minnesota, Illinois, a lot of them, as you would expect, on the East and West Coast. But look, we can't have illegal immigrants driving across our nation's roadways, especially as we've seen so many horrific accidents.
Yeah, with thousands and thousands of pounds of metal that they're driving as well, and killing people in some cases. Derrick Morgan, thank you for your time as always. We'll talk next week.
Yep, sounds great.
All right, thank you. Yeah, Kwame Raoul, the Illinois Attorney General, is leading that fight to protect the information of CDL licensees. It's just amazing. We'll be back in just a minute.
Well, we've got wet roadways this morning. Never good news in my department, but right now it's not terrible, but we have more volume than usual. So a slowdown on northbound 55, a little bit at 141 in the construction zone and at 270. And then northbound 270, slow pockets between 55 and the Clayton Road overpass. 70 eastbound, we just had a report of an accident near 141, so a jam back across the Blanchette Bridge. Once you clear that accident, things open up into downtown. Southbound 61, some moderate volume headed for 64. Eastbound 64 slowing at Clarkson, and then on either side of 170. There is some volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge, and westbound 5570, 255 to 111, and westbound 64 is really jammed at 157. This report brought to you by McKelvey Homes. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Air Comfort Service is there for you. You know, this hot weather we've had, they've loved the commercial they've got out with the lady who finds Corey Malone standing behind her furnace or her air conditioner. Hey, would you grab something for me while you're back there? Would you turn the hose off while you're back there? Those are hilarious, but it's true because I am an Air Comfort Service customer, and I just got to tell you, they're there. I've got them coming over next week, I think, to check my system again. They do it in the fall. They do it in the spring. As we head into fall, they want to make sure that everything's working properly because I bought a brand new system from them 2 years ago. So I got on the preferred partner plan to make sure everything's running. They check the filter. They check all that stuff. And they'll do the same thing for you. I'm not special. You can join the preferred partner plan. You get preferential scheduling if you're on there. You get a discount on parts and labor. Ask them right now about some of the great rebates they've got going on. The Carrier Cool Cash, if you're considering a new system, or if you just need a second opinion, call Corey and the gang at Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. 314-513-0091 or easy online at aircomfortservice.com. Ready?
Show some RESPICT.
Yeah, very little of that going on for sure. Welcome back into the show. We appreciate that. Covering all of the primary stuff last night and everything that's happening around the country. And then we've got our own little show going on here in Missouri right now, our own little crap show, you could call it. Words I can't complete that full word on the air. But I'm just saying it's happening. It's playing out down in Cole County, down in Jeff City, right? So that's where the lawsuit was filed by this Chuck Hatfield. He's got a long history of challenging and suing the state. Mainly on behalf of Democrats. And I love the Kansas City Star will never let you down. I read their headline earlier. I want to read it again. Will Missouri voters be able to protect direct democracy? A judge will decide. A Missouri judge is poised to decide whether an effort to strengthen the state's most prominent form of direct democracy can reach the November ballot. The high-stakes decision comes after Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins, a Republican, rejected the ballot measure earlier this month, declaring it unconstitutional. The campaign, called Respect Mo Voters, sued days later, calling the move illegal. And Judge Daniel Green in Cole County heard arguments Tuesday and did not immediately issue a ruling, said he would release his decision no later than today. So you're going to get a decision on this probably today, tomorrow at the latest. At the core of this case is the state's initiative petition process. Pay attention, all you know on 4 people out there. It's a century-old mechanism in which residents can collect signatures to put policy measures on the ballot. Voters have used petitions to legalize abortion, marijuana, and other high-profile issues in recent years. Issues, I would point out, that the hard left wanted to do an end run around a supermajority Republican legislature. That's why the left uses it. It's why we needed restrictions on it. The fact that we don't have restrictions on it is a problem now. And I warned you about this when you were all fired up and but this is what are we ever going to do if we want to pass good conservative initiative petitions? And Mike pointed out correctly, and I'll point it out again, we don't. We don't. Most of the initiative petitions that have been on the ballot that would be considered conservative have been placed there by the legislature. There wasn't some grassroots effort on the part of Missouri conservatives to put this question to voters because we live in a representative republic. We have overwhelmingly elected a supermajority of Republicans in Jeff City to govern the state. The only reason you need to go around that is if you had some hard left agenda you wanted implemented into the state constitution so that the legislature could not do anything about it. And then you get your way like a bunch of crybabies, right? And you can do it because it's a whole lot harder to convince people to be motivated to vote against something than to be motivated to vote for something. And here, this is the world we live in today. So here is what's going on in Jeff City today. And there's a young lady who reports down there. Her name is Hannah Falcon. I don't know if you know her or not, Kim. She looks somewhere north of 12 years old. I'm going to give her credit for being a little older than that. I'm sure she's graduated from a journalism school somewhere. She just sounds really young, so that's why I'm saying that. But the IP battle that's going on down there, she's a reporter who reports for a number of TV stations around Missouri, but she's based in Jefferson City. I first saw this report on Channel 4, and then I went to their website and couldn't find it. So I had to go to KFVS out of Cape to find her report on the IP battle currently going on down there. Listen.
The petition would require ballot summaries to be clear and unbiased, preserve the citizen petition process, and make it harder for politicians to change or undo voter-approved measures. Secretary of State Denny Hoskins claims the petition violates the Missouri Constitution's single-subject rule, but the campaign claims ballot summaries and legislative changes on ballot measures are the same topic.
The fact that Secretary Hoskins doesn't like it is no reason to deny the people a vote.
Oh, is that it? Yes. Yeah. So there's Chuck Hatfield again, the attorney, hired always by left-wing causes to push whatever they've got going on in Jeff City. So this is what they're mad about. What they're mad about is that when they passed the minimum wage increase via initiative petition a few years ago, because the minute people can vote themselves a raise, it's the end of the republic. I'm pretty sure it was Ben Franklin who said that. I'm paraphrasing him there. The minute people realize they can vote themselves a raise, it's all over with, which is what's happened here. They whipped up the left and they whipped up the labor unions and said, hey, Let's go out and demand that we raise the minimum wage and then make it automatically go up every year until we kill every business in Missouri. That's the nonsense of the left. So they went out and they did that. But the legislature scaled that back once it got in to the Constitution. This initiative petition would prevent them from ever being able to do that. So then the left could cook up whatever cockamamie scheme they wanted, get it passed into the Constitution, and the legislature could never do anything about it, period. End of discussion. It's over with. That's what they're trying to do. That's why initiative petition reform was so important with Amendment 4. It's why I kept saying, quit listening to the noise and listen to what I'm saying to you. Don't buy the lies that this was ever going to hurt conservatives. It wasn't. If something's popular enough to go into the Constitution, it should be able to get 50% plus one vote in all 8 congressional districts. And if it's not, then it's not important enough to go in the Constitution. Do you realize that had we simply raised the threshold to 57%, so that's not quite a supermajority, but it's more than 50%, half the things that are legal now wouldn't be legal. Marijuana wouldn't be legal. None of that stuff would have passed. But it did. And we're stuck with it. And we could have fixed it, and people overwhelmingly misunderstood the problem, in my opinion, and voted no. So here we are. If Denny Hoskins loses in court today and they get this on the ballot and they pass it in November, we will never again be able to control what the left sticks into our Constitution. And again, it's George Soros and it's all these lefties, Planned Parenthood, everybody from out of the state of Missouri who will be celebrating come November, toasting themselves with champagne or whatever it is they drink, or smoking dope at the same time. And they're going to be celebrating the fact that they duped the stupid people of Missouri yet again. And we can go do whatever we want in Missouri. They could. They will be able to do anything they want in the state of Missouri.
I wonder how many other states are like Missouri where it's a 50+1. Because, you think about Florida, where it's, a 54, 55% vote from the public that you would need in order
we're one of the few. I think we're one of 2 states in the country, maybe,
That's
where you can come in and change.
Threshold.
It's incredible. It's ridiculous, and it's incredible. And here's how the mainstream media wants to play it. Voters need to be able to protect direct democracy. We're not a direct democracy. We're a representative republic. Mob doesn't rule in the United States of America. It's the reason we have the Electoral College that people like the governor of Kentucky want to get rid of. That's why, because we're not a direct democracy. We're a representative republic. Our founders explained that so well in the Federalist Papers and why they put in the form of government that they did. So it's not mob rule. That's what we've got in Missouri when it comes to changing the Constitution. Listen to Denny Hoskins yesterday when Hannah Falcon cornered him. This is weird. Like I've done so many interviews as a TV reporter. Sure you did too. I look at the shot. Usually the camera's over the reporter's shoulder, one side or the other. You're holding the microphone out. In this case, he was 6 feet from her. She stood 6 feet away from him.
She wanted to make sure she was adhering to Fauci's.
I guess so.
Yeah,
I don't know if she was conscious of COVID or what.
Very worried about it.
She didn't have a mask on, but she stood 6 feet from Denny Hoskins when she did this interview. You can't see that on the radio, but I'm just telling you, listen.
Well, most certainly. If there's a court order, we will follow any court order that comes down. And I've always said that, hey, any Tom, Dick, or Harry can file a lawsuit, but I'm going to stand on principle. I'm going to stand on the Missouri Constitution. I'm going to stand on Missouri state law and protect Missourians from these out-of-state sugar daddies that are coming in here and think that they can buy the Constitution, they can buy state law.
Yeah, they can. Denny Hoskins, Secretary of State, they can right now. Until we make it harder to change the Constitution, these out-of-state sugar daddies can, with $1 billion, can come in and buy anything they want into your Missouri Constitution. And we were too dense to fix that a couple of weeks ago, and now it won't come up again. Even if we could ever have another run at it, it won't come up again until after the next legislative session. If they're even willing to readdress it, they may look at an 80-20 vote like that and say, that's a third rail. We're not touching it. Our politicians might not bring it up again.
What a great way to describe that. Out-of-state sugar daddies.
That's what he said.
That's what they are.
That's exactly what they are. All right. What's coming up in Kim on a Whim?
So I had someone who texted me yesterday because they were watching the Indiana Fever game, and they said, you will not believe one of the main sponsors of the WNBA. The irony of it will have you laughing. I'll get into it here on the other side of the break.
Eastbound 70, an accident near 141 on the right-hand side, causing a jam back through 94. Also out west, southbound 61 is jammed up as you head for the 70 and 64 split. We've got southbound 79 with some volume as well, north of Highway Y this morning. And eastbound 70 slowing at the 64 split. Now, there's also volume eastbound 364, headed past Highway K. We've got eastbound 64 slowing at the Boone Bridge, and then some slow pockets really from there all the way through Big Bend. We had an accident reported westbound 6440 near Hampton, slow pockets there through 170. And southbound 170, slow pockets Olive down through 64. We still have slow pockets on northbound 270. Anywhere from 55 through the Clayton Road overpass, 55 northbound slowing at the 44 split. Busy on the Illinois side in all of the construction zones, mainly 64 westbound at 157. And some slow-moving traffic westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge and also on northbound Route 3 right at the bridge. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. They are St. Louis's choice for transforming homes inside and out, from windows and siding to bathrooms, outdoor spaces. They give you quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Go to lakesiderd.com. Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Can we even take the WNBA seriously now at this point? You have two former NBA players who just declared for the 2027 WNBA draft. Then I see that two guys dress up with wigs and a dress, and they went to a Las Vegas Aces game, and they declared for the 2027 draft as well. And even the security guards, there was a woman who's, has kind of her even-keeled face, trying not to make an expression and react to it as the guy's walking up the aisle, up the stairs, and he's yelling things and stuff. And then she just starts laughing because it's ridiculous. This whole thing is just laughable at this point. Then somebody's watching the Indiana Fever game last night, and I get a text saying, would you believe Tampax is the official period care partner and sponsor of the WNBA?
How's that going to work for Enes Kanter and Royce White?
Well, I Googled this, and it says that Tampax publicly recognizes that not all people who menstruate are cisgender women. Why do we have to even say you're cisgender? You're a woman.
Who said that?
Well,
Tampax?
No. I mean, I don't know what their wording was, but this was, when you just Google it, that was kind of the AI overview that they give you now. But apparently, Tampax had put out some inclusive tweet about people who bleed. And I'm sorry if you're eating breakfast. But here we go. Here's the tweet.
Tampax did?
This was back in 2020, so this is 6 years ago. It says, fact, not all women have periods. Also a fact, not all women with periods are women. Let's celebrate diversity of all people who bleed. Hashtag myth-busting. Hashtag period truths.
Who put this?
Hashtag trans is beautiful. Tampax, the tampon company for the men listening not knowing what that is unless you've gone on the late night runs for your wife and had to get some.
Okay, I'm not a doctor, but I'm not sure that a dude could use one of those.
They could try, but where you're going to have to put it's not going to help you.
I'm not a biologist, but I don't think that's going to work unless you have certain parts. I just don't think that's going to work for
I think you're right, Mark.
So hashtag what? What were the hashtags again?
Hashtag myth-busting, hashtag period truths, hashtag trans is beautiful.
How about hashtag science? How about hashtag XXXY? This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. You know what it made me think of? It made me think of that Jason Sudeikis Saturday Night Live skit where the two men were commentating on women's pro bowling, and you heard who the sponsor of that was?
Our sponsor, Vagisil. When you get a surprise between your thighs, Vagisil.
Sorry.
I do not remember that.
One of the funniest SNL skits ever. And it was about women's pro bowling. And that's back when they were making fun of the fact that a women's product like that would sponsor a women's sport. They had no idea that they were now going to be talking about men.
Yeah.
Now you think maybe Vagisil will start spending money with the WNBA.
They
what do you think?
They should. Remember how so after those two players, Royce White and Enes, is it Kanter?
Yeah.
Okay. So after they declared for the draft, remember the WNBA had to meet and try to define what a woman is. I mean, that's very, very hard for people to do. Babylon Bee wins it again and puts out Kentucky Derby convenes committee to determine what is a horse. Are we at this point where everyone has to define what it is? Because I think that you should be able to have any animal that, like an ostrich. If an ostrich thinks it's a horse, then an ostrich should be able to compete in the Kentucky Derby. I mean, why stop at humans? Let's just go. My ostrich is feeling more horse-like today. It's competing.
The one I saw from the Babylon Bee said the 6 executive leaders of the WNBA met today to determine what was a woman. But they ran out of time at the meeting because they couldn't agree on where to go eat.
I saw that.
They never reached a conclusion.
Oh, it's the joke of the husband says, "Where do you want to eat?" She says, "Oh, whatever, I don't care." And he's like, "How about this?" No. How about that?
No. My wife's in denial about it. She did not get that joke. She didn't think that joke was funny at all.
It's pretty funny.
And I'm like, "You're the pickiest eater I've ever met."
I'm not that picky, but there are certain things that it just doesn't sound good. But you don't really know what you want until someone says it. You just know what you don't want. You don't know what you do want.
You know what you don't want.
Yeah, see, there's a difference.
That's it. Fortunately, at some point, most of our wives wanted us, but then, maybe they've changed their mind over the years. I don't know. All right, coming up, we're going to talk more about cell phone and Wi-Fi signals and whether or not they affect your health. And Martha MacCullum. Stay tuned.
Democratic socialist is a step closer to the U.S. Senate. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Angie Nixon scored an upset in Florida, outspent 16-1, and trailing in the polls, she beat Alex Vindeman in the Democratic Senate primary by 12 points, telling MS Now.
All across the state of Florida and this nation, people are demanding change. They are tired of the billionaire and corporations running this country.
Nixon's trying to unseat Republican Senator Ashley Moody in November. Two other Democratic socialists lost, however, in Florida, trying to unseat two Democrats in Congress, but Jared Moskowitz and Debbie Wasserman Schultz beat the challengers. Republican Congressman Corey Mills did not. He was primaried out, defeated by GOP challenger Ryan Elijah. Mills is under an ethics investigation and is the 11th House lawmaker to lose this year. Another GOP congressman won the Republican primary for Florida governor, Byron Donalds.
My administration will be guided by 3 pillars: making Florida accountable, achievable, and most of all, affordable.
Donalds will face David Jolly in November. Jolly used to be a Republican in Congress. He switched parties and won the Democratic nomination for governor.
And in Alaska, incumbent Republican Dan Sullivan and Democrat Mary Peltola will advance in the Senate primary. The top 4 candidates advance to the general election by ranked choice voting. Democrats are eyeing this seat as one of their top flip races this November.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. In Wyoming, Republican Congresswoman Harriet Hageman won the GOP Senate primary in a very red state. She's the favorite to win in November, replacing retired Republican Senator Cynthia Lummis. Canada has avoided 50% tariffs on a lot of goods in the U.S. President Trump delayed them.
He says the United States and Canada have agreed a trade deal and the two countries just need time to finalise the documents. There's been a cross-border impasse on several issues, including U.S. tariffs on cars and many Canadian provinces banning American liquor sales.
Jonathan Savage, America's listening to Fox News.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil, one simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to Metamucil.com for more details.
Ice Cube's Big 3 season has come down to this. The Big 3 Championship is coming to Charlotte. Who will be crowned the Big 3 Season 9 champion? Plus the Big 3 All-Star Game. The biggest names in the game, all on one court, one more time. 2 games of the most physical, competitive, and non-stop 3-on-3 action. The game played the way you love. Watch live Saturday on CBS at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and catch replays Monday on BET.
Yay, yay!
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. A rainy start here this morning, 73 degrees. Our temperature now at 8:03. Here's a look at what's making headlines across St. Louis on this Wednesday, August 19th. A St. Charles County man is pushing for the library to ban the Bible because it depicts acts of violence. Brian Rorda points to the verse in Matthew that says any follower of Jesus who causes another believer to stumble, it would be better to have a large millstone hung around their neck and be drowned in the depths of the sea. Rorda says he's challenging the Bible as part of a protest against a recent St. Charles City County Library Board decision to ban LGBTQ pride flags. The board was set to review his request at last night's meeting. Walmart drone delivery could soon be coming to St. Charles City and Maplewood. Whim, which is the company that operates these drones for Walmart, says the drones fly about 150 feet up in the air and can carry up to 5 pounds. Now, keep in mind, nothing here is finalized for either Maplewood or St. Charles. They're just tossing this idea out there right now. For that reason, no word yet on a possible launch date. Well, the security upgrades have been officially finished at all 38 St. Louis area Metrolink stations. The upgrades also include a new ticket vending machine where riders can buy individual tickets. These new gates will only allow paying customers to get through. Metro also says it's added more than 1,000 security cameras near the stations and platforms. In sports, hey, a great day for the Cards. They shut out the Reds yesterday. Final score 3-0. Playing again today. First pitch is 5:40. And City SC plays Sporting KC. That starts tonight at 7 o'clock. All right, coming up on 5 minutes after the hour here on this rainy Wednesday morning, 73 degrees at the Arch. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Accident on northbound 270 at the safety V right at 6440. and we already had a slow go through there. So it's slow pockets, and we're just rain slowed this morning. The 270 rain slowed traffic goes back through 55. Accident reported eastbound Highway 6440 before the Boone Bridge, causing a delay there. We're rain slowed on 370 and 70. There was an accident eastbound at 141. That crews moved to the shoulder, really raining along eastbound 364 at the Veterans Memorial Bridge, some slow-moving traffic there, and on eastbound 64 approaching 270 through Big Bend. Westbound lines up Hampton through 170, and 170 is slow as well, headed for 40. We've even got some rain-slowed traffic on westbound 270 on the bridges this morning as you head toward Riverview. And the Illinois side has so much road work, but 64 westbound at 157 is the biggest jam, along with westbound 5570 at 255. It's also slow crossing the Poplar. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
.73 degrees now, 8:07 is our time. Hey, you can take the Marc Cox Morning Show with you wherever you go. Someone was listening from Australia this morning. Love it. Listen to the show anytime, even if you miss it in the morning. You can find it all on our free Odyssey app.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
All right, welcome back. We continue to have some technical surprises here this morning, and I'm just trying to warn our friends on social media. If you're just joining us, thank you for that. We've been talking about this since the show went on the air at 5 a.m., just to kind of tell people because some changes took place today from a technical standpoint, and we still don't have all the bugs ironed out of the system. But the bottom line is, the music you hear coming into these breaks and out of the breaks on the radio and on the Odyssey app, you should not be hearing that music if you're watching us on social media. We've had to remove that music from social media for licensing reasons, and it's been a bit of a complicated task to make that happen, which includes in and out of each break, Kim sitting down here doing a multitude of things, having to hit a button to either stop or start the separate music we're playing on those social media channels. And I only tell you this not because you need the background of it, but because it is complicated, and we're trying to get it ironed out. And we've had people join us throughout the show on the social media platforms who are confused because suddenly there's no music, or the music they're hearing is weird, or they think they hear something playing under Kim or me. Anyway, it's a work in progress. Hopefully we get this figured out at some point, and just know that we are working on it.
Yeah, because I'm trying to make sure it's not playing underneath news. I'm trying to monitor it, but yeah, I think it's more complicated than we thought. So just please bear with us as we sort out the kinks.
If we can figure it out, we will. We had a great discussion last hour. Lots of comments on the text line 314-241-9797. You can always send us your thoughts on there. Lots of thoughts on there and on social media over the whole initiative petition process. I kind of went sideways on that here, but I was trying to explain to people what this lawsuit is all about. At least at the Cole County level, could be decided today. And then regardless of which way it's decided, it's going to advance to the Missouri Supreme Court because they have a September 8th deadline by which something would have to be decided on whether or not this initiative petition process gets on the ballot for November. And there are a couple of court decisions we're waiting on today. So if you missed that, hit rewind on the Odyssey app, or you can just download the podcast, which we try to make as easy as possible. And Kim does a really good job of putting descriptors in there of what the conversations were that we were talking about.
Thanks. I try to make it easy.
You. We try to make it easy, except when the music doesn't work. So we're still trying to figure that out. I don't know. Hopefully I can have a conversation after the show today and figure out what we can do differently moving forward so that we have a little more consistency with that. But regardless. Coming up, very excited. I don't think I've ever managed to get this guest on this program before over the years. Martha MacCullum is going to join us. Maybe I did have her on once a long time ago. I can't remember. I know I had Bill Hemmer on a few times over the years. She used to co-anchor with Bill on that show that comes on at 9 on Fox in the mornings, and now it's Dana Perino who's on there, and Martha has an afternoon show, but we managed to get her on here this morning. We tried to get her to on to fill in for Shannon Bream when she was on vacation a couple of weeks ago, and it just never worked out, but she agreed to do it at a future date, and now we have her on this morning at about 8:35. So among the things I want to talk to her about is the DSA victory in Florida last night. I was just listening to one of the candidates. This Nixon is her last name. She won in Florida. She upset this Alexander Vindman. Remember that guy's name? He is the sole reason that Donald Trump was impeached over that Ukraine conversation he had. Completely legitimate conversation with the president of Ukraine, and this guy leaked the audio of it and made a big deal claiming Trump was trying to get dirt on his political opponent, which is not true because there was dirt on his political opponent, Joe Biden, and his son's dealings with Burisma in the Ukraine. All of that was legitimate. And the Democrats, which they'll do again if they take back the House, managed to stage a fake impeachment over the whole thing. And Alexander Vindman was in the middle of it. He hates Donald Trump. So he went to Florida, and the Democrats gave him $16 million to win the primary, and he blew it. And this DSA candidate beat him soundly, and all she spent was about $1 million. So we'll talk to Martha MacCullum about that shocking development down there in Florida coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Up next, we're going to talk to a man who has been studying, because of personal experience, whether or not cell phone signals and or Wi-Fi signals and or I would assume 5 and 6G and all that stuff we're dealing with these days has any impact on health. And as Kim mentioned earlier, he had a personal family situation with one of his children, I believe, which got him to looking into this. And he is an author, and he's written books on health, and he's an inventor as well. We're going to talk to him coming up here in the next segment. Right now, though, Ethan is going to help us get to our top stories and the short list, please.
Are Taiwan and the South China Sea national security issues for the United States? And if so, why or how?
I'm just going to be honest here. I'm not on national security. I'm not that informed on national security, so.
Ooh, not a good moment last night for Darlene Graham, Lindsey Graham's sister, who's trying to run to replace him for a 6-year term in the Senate. She was asked a pretty simple national security question on Taiwan and China. No clue. Had no clue, wasn't prepared for it, and boy, did not go over very well with the audience there.
Not a day goes by that we are hearing from our farmers and our agricultural workers that because of these illegal tariffs, because of this absurd immigration policy and this improper usage of this lawless ICE agency, that we are now seeing how their costs are going up.
Wes Moore is a governor of Maryland, I think, right? He's claims he's not running for president, but he's sure making an awful lot of news show appearances and talk show appearances right now to blast Donald Trump.
It's certainly an indication of the success of Donald Trump's Orwellian project to erase history, to distort reality.
Yeah, is that really a thing? Is it Orwellian? He's distorting reality. The people on the left don't know what to do with Donald Trump, and therefore they say crazy statements like that about him. That was Charlie Sykes, in fact, if you didn't recognize the voice. Hang on. Again, here my computer's not working. Hang on. Here we go.
I don't think we want our health care in the hands of politicians deciding what tests we can get, what doctors we can see.
Oh, come on, Ronna McDaniel. What are you talking about? If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Kim, remember that? That Barry Obama statement all those years ago?
Forgot about that.
If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Don't worry. Those are all lies. And nationalized health care would be a complete disaster in this country. We can't afford Medicare and Medicaid as it is with the limited number of people who are on those programs. You have to be 65 to get on Medicare, right? Medicaid is for the poorest of the poor. How exactly do they think? I just love to have this conversation with a member of the DSA because I watched them try to have this conversation on CBS News a few minutes ago with this Nixon lady who won in Florida. And they're like, well, you say you want nationalized health care. Yes, health care is a right. How would you pay for it? And she immediately pivots to something else. Can you imagine the cost of nationalized health care? Remember, we don't have a health care problem in this country. We have a health insurance problem in this country. Because when I go to the hospital and I look at the bill and I see the bill is, I don't know, if you're in there 4 days, $30,000. And then I realize that since it's covered by insurance, they're overcharging because they know they'll get they can make a lot more money off that. I mean, we have a health insurance problem. And these people think we can they want to eliminate your personal health insurance, your ability to buy it, and force everybody into government-run health care. It's a disaster in Canada. It's a disaster in England. Anybody that's lived in it understands that. These are the people that want to get elected to Congress, and once they do, they'll start chipping away at this again. Remember, the Clintons started trying to do this in the early 90s. They're coming at it again, just so you know. All right, coming up, we'll get to Norbert Heuser, who has written this book on the potential dangers of cell phones and Wi-Fi. We'll be right back.
Wet roadways this morning, and that has caused just rain-slowed traffic in general. If you are a northbound 270 driver, slow pockets from 55 up through Ladue Road. There was an accident. They moved to the safety V right at 64. Southbound, a little bit slow at 70, and again at Olive. We've got eastbound 64. There was an accident as you approached the Boone Bridge, so some slow-moving traffic there, back past 94. 364 slowing at the bridge this morning. 70, there was an earlier accident at 141. We've even got some volume on eastbound 370 this morning. And then 64 slows again east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. Westbound lines up Hampton through the inner belt. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64, just a parking lot approaching 157, that due to the closure because of road work of 64 westbound 255 to 18th Street. Now, if you're headed in on the Poplar Street Bridge, things look fine there. This report brought to you by Midwest Gun Works. For nearly 3 decades, firearm enthusiasts have trusted Midwest Gun Works for hard-to-find parts, expert gunsmithing, and quality gear. Your next build or repair starts here. Shop MidwestGunworks.com or visit Midwest Gunworks in Peevely, Missouri. Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Lots of rain overnight, still raining in many areas. Boy, they got some heavy rain in the southern part of our listening area. If you're down there, you know. Hopefully you don't have a leaky basement. And you have Home Shield Foundation repairs around waiting for your call in case you do. 314-271-9900. Matt will get somebody over there to take a look at that for you and get the problem fixed. So the next time you don't have to worry about it. Next time you don't sweat when the forecast is lots of rain and storms rolling through for a couple days at a time. They get it straightened up and they give you a lifetime warranty. I don't think you can beat that. They can handle anything dealing with the foundation of your home, but if it's water in your basement, they'll get it fixed. They'll do it right. They're a local family-owned company that stands behind their work. I know Matt personally. He's a great guy. They'll take care of you. 314-271-9900. Go to their website. You can see videos of what they do and how they do it. It's HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
The time now is 8:22, and this time check is brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
It's funny how many other people had the same experience I did, Kim, with that first cell phone that I had. I told you it was a bag phone, had a little antenna that popped up. It was probably like 3 watts, throwing out all kinds of stuff in every direction. It was powerful. It worked, right? I forget how much it cost a minute to use that thing. It was ridiculous back then if you wanted to use it. But I always wondered if having that thing near me was radiating me or anything. And I know they've studied this over the years, and a lot of people have reached their own conclusions because of personal issues they've ended up having. I've got Norbert Heuser on the line with us this morning. He's an inventor, he's an author, he's a life and health coach, and he's been asking questions about whether or not these Wi-Fi and cell phone signals are affecting our lives. Mr. Heuser, welcome in. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning to you. What started your search to find out whether or not these signals were impacting us?
Well, I'm in alternative medicine for 45 years. I'm German. I started in Germany. I still have my headquarters in Germany. I live in the United States now. But 20 years ago, I became very sick, and it was because of mobile phone. We found out of mobile phone, as well my eldest firstborn grandson. We were both sick at the same time. So I looked around, and there was nothing available to protect you. It was ridiculous. And then finally I said, I have to protect myself. So I started to invent a technology based on quantum physics. And it took me 2 years with my team in Germany to develop it. And then we brought it out, and it worked 100%. So then I was happy because now I had something to protect myself. But I never wanted a company to manufacture it. But it ended up because I had an obligation. Knowledge makes no sense if you don't share it. So I shared my knowledge and my experience, and I started to produce a product which protects every cell phone in this world.
What is
no
it?
matter which.
What's the product?
It's a small product. It looks, imagine a credit card, but smaller and much, 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 much thinner. And you just place it between the protective case on your phone and the phone. You just stash it in between. And then it's guaranteed for 5 years. It protects you 100%. And it doesn't matter what these bad frequencies normally do to you. They're nullified. Of course, it's a big statement, and I have tested by the BISA Institute in Austria, has scientifically tested my product to assure people it does work. And the tests are on my website, 110 pages, which exactly explain what we do, how we do it, and how it protects you.
Norbert Heuser is our guest, and he's the inventor of the product he's talking about here. Let me ask, how did you determine, without a doubt, that it was a cell phone that caused problems for you and your grandson?
Okay, first of all, I'm practicing for 45 years kinesiology, which is called muscle testing. In muscle testing, you can find this out in a minute. A lot of people are aware of it, a lot of people are not aware of it. But then I had the BISA Institute tested the cell phones. They tested the cell phone using the cell phone without any protection, and they tested 15 organs and functions in your body and showed the graphics, how these organs and functions are sabotaged. Then they put my product on the cell phone, same person, same cell phone. 5 minutes later, all these negative influences were nullified, and the organs and functions which were sabotaged were working fine without any problem.
I know what muscle testing is. I'm very familiar with that. I've had that done. How concerned are you about 6G that's expected to roll out here in 2030?
Well, the date is not clear yet. I believe it comes earlier than 2030, but they won't tell us before the last minute, before it's already done. I'm more than concerned. 6G changes the world as we know it, but already 4G and 5G are bad enough. And 5G, we think it's new. 5G is not new. 5G has been used by the armies in America, Canada, and England as a weapon of war. And on my website, I recommend books. One is called The Hidden Dangers of 5G, and it's written by Captain Jerry G. Flynn from the Canadian Army, whistleblower, who explains that 5G was used since the 60s by the armies as a weapon.
Well, Mr. Heuser, I'm going to run short on time here. Do you have a website if people are interested in finding out more about your research and your invention here?
Sure. And on this website are many podcasts, many interviews, many whistleblowers who speak out. And the website is EMR, for electromagnetic radiation, EMRprotection.co.
Okay.
EMRprotection.co. But you don't need to believe me only. There are plenty of people. And I compared with the cigarette industries in the 50s. They knew what they were doing, but this is big business. Don't forget, we have in America about 330 million people, and we have about 400 million mobile phones in use.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's certainly going to pique a lot of people's interest for sure. Mr. Heuser, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me, and a great day to you.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
thank you very much. We're going to take a quick break here. Yeah, EMRprotection.co is that website. Check it out for yourself. We'll be back in just a minute. Michael's Flooring Outlet does great work, and I've had them at my house 4 different times installing everything from carpeting to hardwood to that waterproof flooring from Mohawk, which they put in my bathroom at my last house. Beautiful product, by the way, because if they've got it in stock, you might get it installed the next day at Michael's. That's one thing, the reason Michael Reynolds has been so successful, I'm convinced. Customer service and word of mouth, and people brag all the time. In fact, I just had somebody yesterday commenting on Facebook telling me they just had Michael's Flooring Outlet out. They had done a great job. So you can reach out to them. You can go visit them at one of their 3 stores, Old Town St. Peter's, Darden Prairie, or West St. Louis County, or they'll come to you. Just go to their website, tell them you heard Marc Cox talking about it, and they will send somebody with samples right to your house. Check them out online. You know where to go. It's igotfloored.com.
I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money Now. Meta Platforms has rejected accusations by U.S. states that it intentionally worked to addict children to its Facebook and Instagram platforms in pursuit of profit. A bipartisan group of 29 U.S. states is suing Meta, seeking potentially tens or hundreds of billions of dollars in penalties and changes to how Meta does business. A new report says that small batches of NVIDIA's H200 chips have been allowed to enter mainland China. The Financial Times reports that ByteDance and Tencent have each received about 10,000 H200 processors in recent weeks, while a few other Chinese technology firms could soon secure similar shipments. The Port of Los Angeles notched its second highest volume for July, boosted by resilient demand for consumer goods and equipment for manufacturing and data centers. CNBC reports that the Port of Los Angeles processed just over 960,000 20-foot equivalent units of container cargo last month. Futures are now slightly higher. That's Your Money Now.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text SPARK to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text SPARK to 215-215. That's SPARK to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Rain slowed traffic this morning at just a little bit of a slower go than usual. Even on 270 in both directions up north, a little slow at the Canal Bridge this morning. Eastbound 370 slowing at the bridge. We've got moderate volume along eastbound 70 at Cave Springs, and then 94 through 270 before it opens up. 364, some moderate volume headed for 141. 64, there's still some slow-moving traffic eastbound headed for the Boone Bridge. We had an earlier accident there, northbound 270. Slow pockets 55 through Ladue Road. And eastbound 6440 slowing again. It's mainly east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. And westbound is still a slow go right around Clayton Skinker. On the Illinois side, 64, of course, jammed, headed for 255 where the westbound lanes are closed. And westbound 5570 slowing as well, especially at 255. This report brought to you by i3 Broadband. Summer celebrations are here, and i3 Broadband keeps you connected. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 866-806-5485 to upgrade today, because life runs better on fiber, and i3 Broadband is here for you. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
You know, my friends Bob and Tammy Kershaw, great people, and they work for a company that has been assisting people heading into retirement for 40 years now. So they have been using these strategies, I should say, to help people who are in the process of retiring. In many cases, the people that I meet who've come out to see us when we get together every few months have already retired in some cases, and they're looking for ways to protect what they saved over the years, your 401k, your 403b, whatever it is. You just want to protect it in case there's some downturn in the market. The strategies are not what your normal brokerage houses are talking about, which is why you need to hear Bob and Tammy talk about it in person. Then you can decide. They're going to sit down with you for free. 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. Tell them you're going to love these people. Tell them Marc Cox sent you over there, and they're going to give you a free copy of their book as well, which explains it all. And you can sit down with them. Set your appointment at retirementkey.com.
Today,
Look, I agree with you. Terrible candidate. He's been kind of a grift all the way through. And the fact that these lib donors gave him $16 million. They might have given him more, actually. To watch him, piss it away on this grift. I don't know where it went either. I assume the consultants all have fine beach houses all up and down the coast now. All the consultants. But it's a grift. He's been a grift for years, and he paid.
Yeah, that is Scott Jennings last night on this shocking victory of a DSA candidate in Florida that beat this Alex Vindman, the one that led to ultimately the impeachment of Donald Trump during his first term. Just amazing. One of the things we'd like to discuss with Martha MacCullum. Thrilled to get her on here from Fox News and the story with Martha MacCullum there every day. Martha, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me. Great to be with you.
It's great to be with you. You know, when I read this morning that this Angie Nixon in Florida spent about $700,000, and Vindman collected nearly $16 million and still lost. That has got to be sending shockwaves through the DNC.
Absolutely. I mean, Alex Vindman pretended like he wasn't even running against Angie Nixon. They had no debates. He basically ignored her throughout the course of the campaign. And it's really, as you point out, Mark, it's just a lesson in money and the difference that it sometimes doesn't make. She spent south of $1 million, as you say. He was at over $16 million. Everyone remembers Alex Vindman testifying against President Trump. And he was, at that time, sort of righteous and arrogant in his demeanor. And he's sort of accused of kind of doing the same thing in the Florida race, thinking that he was going to walk away with it. And he's probably pretty shocked this morning. But she has a lot of deep roots in the community. She was a union organizer. She's a state rep. She's very, very anti-DeSantis. She has done a sit-in in the governor's building. So she's a well-known person in the area, and of course, social media is free and is working really well for some of these candidates.
Yeah, well, she reflects all the views of everybody in the DSA. She wants to end jails and free health care for everyone. You know, I wonder, and maybe this is one of the questions you'll be asking today on the story, is what happens next? Like, is there any polling out on what that race looks like now? I mean, there's no way in red Florida she has a chance, right?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? She is the first DSA nominee of a major party, so it is a big win for her. She's going to be running against Ashley Moody, who's the current United States Senator who took Marco Rubio's spot. She was the former Attorney General under Governor DeSantis. So she is very credible. She has a very wide following. She is, very solid in the hearings that she has been part of in the United States Senate. I think it's going to be a tough race for sure for Angie Nixon.
Gosh, it makes you question these polls, though, in general, after that polling firm came out and said that, yeah, we were really just doing this social experiment to see if we could have any sort of an impact on the election. So, gosh, you wonder when it's showing some of these candidates in the lead, are they really in the lead?
I just think that polling at this level, we're all paying a lot of attention to these primary races around the country, of course, as we head towards the midterms. But primary polling is, typically not great. It's very small sampling, very narrow scale. There's not a lot of money that's put into polling in these primary races. And I think we've learned in Michigan and Wisconsin that the polling, was off by double digits in both places. So I think we got to just pay attention to what's going on the ground and not worry too much about the polling in these primaries, which still have a couple of races to be settled.
Yeah. Yeah, I've watched Martha, I'm sorry, as they've questioned the president on gas prices. And I listened to what some people thought was a pretty flippant comment from him the other day, is that, you can deal with $4 gas for a little while if we can end the threat in Iran. And I've questioned here whether or not that's the message they should be sending, because the Democrats, for better or worse, have had a lot of success with this whole question of, affordability. And I think they're going to hammer that between now and the elections. Do you see a change in approach by the administration at all on that?
Well, I think you're right. And I think that the argument about this generational fight against Iran it sometimes gets lost in the shuffle when we talk about affordability and gas prices, which of course are very important. And we see that the president's, back to polling and not, I think generally national polling is a little bit more substantial than what we see in these primaries, but the president is underwater on the economy. And, so you can feel that kind of push and pull in his messaging on all of this. He's very aware of the concerns about that, but he also will say, you know what, this isn't about the midterms. This is about legacy and about history for the country. And we see Iran having this very, I think, surprising to the White House and to everyone, resilience. And it's hard for us to get inside the mentality of a revolutionary leadership.
Right.
And they don't really care if the people are suffering. They want survival at any cost. And I think they're going to just continue to up the ante. The Institute for the Study of War, General Keene's operation, said, Tehran wants to raise the cost of all this for the United States. So, this is why being president is the hardest job in the world, because these are big decisions that he has to make right now. We've seen it go back and forth a bit. But I do agree with you that articulating the larger issue of freedom and the potential for the Iranian people. I think, I have a number of guests on who are Iranians who live in the United States, whose families fled in 1979. And they were told, and so were the freedom fighters, to the extent that they could manage it in the midst of a massacre, that their hour of freedom was at hand, and that the United States was going to support them. So we're going to see that there's way more chapters to be written in this story, and I hope in the end the Iranian people prevail, and the United States will be safer if that's the case.
It's amazing. Martha, I asked my friend Griff Jenkins this the other day. I'm like, do you ever just pinch yourself? I mean, we're in strange times these days, and every day there's some new breaking news of some sort across the world. And you're right there on the front page reporting on this history as it's happening. Yeah, I mean, I love your work, but do you ever just sit back in awe of the times we're in?
Almost every day, Mark. Almost every day, and also the fact that I get to cover it, because it's an extraordinary moment, and I often will sort of step back and say to people, look, after the Trump era is over, it will be written about and talked about for decades. As we love to study the presidencies of our country, it is consequential, as the president likes to say, bold action that people have not taken in the past. I mean, the things that he's done in Iran, the 2 attacks in January, in June, and then February, people, sort of war gamed these for years and years and years and didn't do it. So what's the outcome going to be? Nobody knows at this point. But the action is fascinating to cover. There's no doubt about it.
Martha MacCullum, our pleasure having you on. We'll be watching the story. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Great to be with you.
Yep. Take care. Good to get her on here. Yeah, it's changed the paradigm. I've said it more than once, and to a lesser extent for me and for Kim, to be able to cover these events as they happen as well, because whoever comes next, J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, heaven forbid, Josh Shapiro or one of these Democrats, it's never going to be the same.
It's hard to imagine many presidents would have the guts to do what Trump is doing. He
Correct.
Doesn't care. And the fact that he is on his second term, I think, helps, because he's just going to lay it all out there knowing, hey, I don't have to worry about being reelected. I mean, this is kind of, let's just put everything out there, and anything I've been thinking about doing, like bombing Iran, let's go.
Yeah. Well, here we go again. All right. Quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Wet roadways this morning, and it has caused some delays. We're just lucky it's not everybody back to school yet, because it's not as bad as it could be. But there's still some moderate volume eastbound 70, 94 through 270. Then it opens up. We look much better on 364, but eastbound 64, there was an accident approaching the Boone Bridge, and that caused a delay. Then it's slow again on either side of 170. We've got northbound 270, still with some slow pockets, but now it's gravelway up through the Clayton Road overpass. On the Illinois side, some moderate volume on the Poplar Street Bridge, but a jam on westbound 64 at 157. This report brought to you by McKelvey Homes. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, what's stopping you from having your dream home? Is it financing? Because Lakeside Renovation and Design was telling me that, that's something that maybe holds up a lot of families, but they've actually realized a lot of homeowners are using their financing options strategically, not because they have to, but because maybe they want to preserve their savings. They want to complete the project all at one time instead of piecing it together over several years, which can be complicated. And that's the kind of thing that Lakeside Renovation and Design can help you with. Some of these projects can get overwhelming. Lakeside, whatever you're doing, a kitchen, bathroom, finishing finishing off your basement. They just put up a really beautiful picture video of the staircase that they had done inside a home here in the St. Louis area. They do outside spaces. Lakeside can help answer all your questions. You can actually go to their website, lakesiderd.com, chat with Candace in the bottom right-hand corner. Not a bot. Candace actually works there. Part of the family that owns it. Like I said, family-owned company. This is just a company that's going to back up their work with a lifetime workmanship warranty, A-plus rating from the BBB, and so many 5-star reviews. It's Lakeside Renovation and Design, lakesiderd.com.
All right, still have not really done a deep dive into what happened last night, Kim, on some of these primaries. We knew Byron Donalds was going to win in Florida, so he's going to now face off with somebody named David Jolly for governor down there, replacing Ron DeSantis. I think initially DeSantis' wife was going to run for governor. I don't think she ended up being in the primary.
I never even heard that.
Yeah. So Donalds won and Jolly won for the Democrats. I think he's a congressman, David Jolly, down there. So that'll be interesting. I don't think that's going to be a competitive race. I could be wrong. It'll be weird that the Democrats are going to have to go down and campaign against a black man who wants to be the governor of a state. But because he's a Republican, they won't have any problem with that.
Well, remember, who was it who said, was it Biden or Obama who said, you're not black if you're not a Democrat? So he's not even black.
I know. So I picked up some sound from Donald yesterday talking about his race against David Jolly.
When he talks about culture wars, is defending the puberty of our young kids, making sure we support family values and Western civilization. David Jolly still supports boys playing in girls' sports. It's just him and the WNBA that think that. It's absolutely insane, and that's not what the people of Florida want. So when you talk about affordability or you talk about Florida's culture, it's Republicans that have actually had a prosperous state of Florida led by Governor DeSantis, making sure that we support family values and parental rights. As governor, we are going to continue to protect those things.
Yeah, thank you. He will make a fantastic governor for Florida. I would have to say, I was thinking about this yesterday, who's been the most consequential governor in America the last 8 years. And I don't know how you could argue it's anybody other than Ron DeSantis.
So what's his future? Do you think he has a cabinet position? Let's just say it's J.D. Vance. Maybe he picks Marco Rubio as a VP. Would he? I have to imagine he'd put DeSantis in the cabinet somehow.
I can't imagine a scenario where Ron DeSantis is not running for president in 28.
Nah, you really think, though, that would he really go up against J.D. Vance? I think he would slice and dice.
I think a lot of people are going to go up against J.D. Vance.
Well, I'm sure you're going to have multiple people. It's not just going to be J.D. Vance running, but I don't know. I mean, I'm so impressed with DeSantis. I mean, truly one of the best governors I think we'll ever see. But when he was running for president, he was on that debate stage. I think I'm not alone in saying I was a little underwhelmed. He just didn't, he wasn't as charismatic. He just didn't really seem as confident as maybe we all expected whenever you see him, doing those press conferences for Florida. He carries such confidence with him, and he just seemed to lack that when he was running for
president. It'll be interesting to see if, because I'm trying to think if there's a senatorial campaign in Florida coming up that he might have some interest in. That'll be interesting to see if he throws his name in there, or if he's got the support of the Trump administration, because of course Trump didn't get along with him very well when he was running against him. But I think the two of them get along now. Mm-hmm. Would Trump put him in some sort of a position within the administration for the final 2 years of his term, potentially to help him buff up his resume, or will he be afraid to do that because he thinks he's going to run for president against J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio?
What if there was some sort of an agreement? Hey, I'll put you in my cabinet if you don't run
I don't think
them.
he would agree to that. I can't see that in any way, shape, or form. All right, stick around. I'm sure Kilmeade will have the very latest on a lot of those national primary races and the big DSA upset in Florida. Keep it tuned to 97.1 all day long. The Annie Fry Show, the Mark Reardon Show coming up this afternoon. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.